Two teenagers, Destiny Sissom and Anthony Taylor, found themselves in a difficult situation after having a child. But there was uncertainty over who the father was, and now both families stood before the court, ready to wage a battle over paternity, responsibility, and ultimately, the truth.
What stands before me is a case of babies having babies, teenagers. This is upsetting. With that said, Miss Sissom, you and your teenage daughter, Destiny, are here to prove that Anthony Taylor is the father of your daughter's 8-month-old son, Osiris. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Destiny's mother, Marilyn Sissom, was adamant Anthony was the father of her grandson, Osiris. There was no doubt in her mind. She had seen this before, a child left fatherless, just as she had been when she lost her father at a young age. Osiris deserved a father, and she was here to ensure he got one.
I lost my dad when I was 2, so I know what it's like not to have a father. But I'm not here because of me. I'm not here because of Destiny. I'm here because of Osiris.
Destiny, you truly believe Anthony is this child's father?
Yes, Your Honor.
You've changed the course of your life by having this baby.
Yes, Your Honor.
But Anthony's mother, Brenda Riley, refused to accept that her son had any responsibility for the child. From the moment she learned of Destiny's pregnancy, she became suspicious. The courtroom quickly became a battlefield, with both mothers launching accusations across the room.
She was sneaking at my house. She was coming over here lying, conniving, saying, I have a 14-year-old daughter at home. She was sneaking over there, hollering about she was coming over there to see my daughter.
That's a lie, Your Honor.
My son was going to, how you going to tell me what's a lie?
Because, Your Honor, they was having sex in her house.
You didn't even care
and
where
she,
your daughter
what
was
type
at.
of parent is she? If she gonna kill them, she told them.
Destiny and Anthony had planned their meetings carefully, formulating the lies that had kept their parents in the dark. They had used Brenda's house as their hideaway, taking advantage of her trust, and she unknowingly allowed it. But even then, Brenda clung to her belief that the child wasn't her grandchild, and she had her reasons.
Your Honor, I see her walking with another guy. My son at school, this is before Destiny said anything about she was pregnant. Next thing you know, I find out that my son come telling me that she told him that she pregnant. How is that? You just came around 2 weeks ago? And he was messing with another girl at the time.
Marilyn wasn't backing down. She fiercely defended her daughter's honor, insisting there was no question about who the father was. Her daughter had been a virgin before Anthony. She was absolutely sure of it. But in this courtroom, certainty didn't count for much. Without proof, her words were just another claim in a battle that demanded evidence.
Now, to Mom, Miss Sissom, you know it's Miss Riley's house where she's going to have. You don't know. She just saying, I'm going over my friends.
That's all
That's
I know.
where I am.
That's all
So you don't even know about Anthony.
No.
You think your daughter's a virgin.
She was a virgin when she met Anthony. So, therefore, yes, it's Anthony's baby.
The stakes had never been higher. For Destiny, this was about securing a future for her son. For Marilyn, it was about justice. For Brenda, it was about protecting her son from a life-altering responsibility that may not even be his.
One of her family members threatened us. So yes, I did, because my daughter ain't finna go through this with her. She young. I tried to call this woman and talk to this woman like a woman when she was pregnant. So don't sit up here and tell that lie.
Calm down.
Goddamn lie.
Ladies.
Oh, wait a minute.
Ladies, hold on.
I don't think they want to calm down. These two are at the tip of getting physical. This case has been a battlefield of emotions, each testimony a step closer to either truth or devastating heartbreak. With both mothers at each other's throats, the judge wanted to hear from Anthony.
Do you believe you are Osiris's biological father?
Yes, I do.
You do believe that?
Yes.
And tell me why.
Because I picked Destiny and I took her virginity, and I felt like I was getting into a lot of trouble and things that was happening, and I felt like...
Very thoughtful. Now, we can understand why he signed the birth certificate without any issues. Anthony seemed to have planned the whole thing out, and he confirmed Destiny's earlier statement. Everyone seemed to be in agreement except Brenda. But was she right? The moment of truth arrived.
Mr. Taylor, you are his father.
It's understandable how Marilyn would feel this way. Hey, I probably would have reacted the same way if I were in her shoes. All the shouting, all the accusations, all the pain. The truth cut through it all. Brenda had practically accused Destiny of playing games, but this is still Judge Lauren's court, and she had had enough of the bickering. It is time for the results.
About the most ignorant stuff I done seen in here in a long time. Sit down. Miss Sissom, you sit in that chair. Miss Sissom, sit down. And Miss Riley, have a seat. This is just ignorant. Come over here, Anthony. Sit down. You all are just, this is shameful.
This is Anthony Johnson, and he is convinced he'd been tricked. He claimed Alexis Owens had deliberately misled him into believing he was the father of little Dakari, only for him to learn later that she had been involved with another man. And not just any man, one who was now dead, making it impossible to confirm the truth without a DNA. He wasn't just skeptical, he was angry. He had been there for Dakari's birth and even signed the birth certificate, believing in his heart that this was his son. Things got even messier when Alexis claimed that Anthony had done nothing to support the baby, just showing up and nothing more. But Anthony wasn't about to let that accusation go unanswered. He shot back, ready to defend himself. Dude, are you for real? If these insults start flying, this case could get really long. I don't think Alexis will take this. This wasn't just about paternity anymore. It's now personal, and Judge Lauren will have to step in. Anthony is super convinced that he is not the child's father and has been taken for a ride. An angry person can say crazy things, but Alexis seems to know just how to handle him. The judge wanted to know how Alexis could have made the mistake of assuming Anthony was her baby daddy in the first place. Anthony is furious, but is this righteous anger, or is he posturing? Whatever it is, it won't last long. Not in Judge Lauren's courtroom. She's seen it all before. She wasn't finished. The judge was done playing referee. She wasn't about to waste another second on their pointless arguments. Anthony and Alexis had turned her courtroom into a battlefield, and she'd had enough. But then Alexis took it one step too far, and the proceeding had spiraled into a full-blown spectacle. Judge Lauren took a moment to compose herself after forcing Anthony and Alexis to realize how ridiculous they had been acting. This was about Dakari, a little boy who deserved to know the truth, deserved a father, and deserved parents who could act like adults instead of clowns in a courtroom. And just before the moment of truth, the judge had one final warning. This nonsense stops today. If Anthony was the father, he had to step up. If he wasn't, then Alexis had to accept the truth and move forward. But what neither of them was going to do was keep tearing each other down at the expense of an innocent child. Now, for the results.
Mr. Johnson, you
isn't just about paternity. It's a full-blown crisis. At the center of it all is young Miss White, standing in court, desperate to set the record straight for her 3-month-old daughter. From the start, it's clear that young Miss White's self-esteem issues have led her down a dangerous road. According to her mother, it wasn't just a mistake here or there. It was a pattern.
fathered your 3-month-old daughter, but say you blame your mother. Both possible fathers have been tested and are waiting outside of the courtroom.
Although young Miss White's mother is standing up for her, Miss White admits that her struggles with weight and confidence pushed her toward reckless behavior. And now, with 2 possible fathers standing outside the courtroom waiting for DNA results, the stakes couldn't be higher.
She have low self-esteem. She said because her weight problem. I say she looked beautiful to me. You know, she can go to the Y.
But what sends this case over the edge is the sheer chaos surrounding Miss White's choices. Her mother recounts how her daughter seeks validation in all the wrong places from all the wrong people. A dangerous, self-destructive cycle that had finally reached its breaking point.
And it's like sometimes when I went to school, I wanted to wear True Religion, Rock Republican. I wanted to wear stuff like that, but, you know, I couldn't fit into it. And, you know, as my mom said, she offered to take me to the Y, but when I went up to the Y, I got teased on up there. And
Miss White did not deny that. For her, the world wasn't so kind. She would never be enough, no matter what she did. And so, she turned to the one place where she thought she could find love. This led to a tangled web of intimacy, blurred lines, and poor judgment that only further complicated the paternity question. Now, the judge will have to sieve through each man.
I wanted someone to, you know, Valentine's Day, I wanted gifts. I wanted to be, you know, walk in parks. I wanted all that, and I never got it.
So you were dating and sleeping with more than one guy?
Yes, Sean, I was.
At the same time?
Yes.
One of the potential daddies confesses to something even more shocking, an incident involving a 3-way with Miss White. The situation was already out of control, but this revelation sent it straight into disaster territory.
Yes, because my daughter, she's finding love in all the wrong places. I wake up, she want to be a love, she want boyfriends, but you don't find them like that going on Craigslist. Moco space. You know, you jeopardizing your life. You getting into cars at nighttime, sitting in a strange car with people I've never seen before.
The mother is clearly not happy. The judge is listening, but she's not impressed. Before she could continue, she wanted to hear from her friend, the ultimate matchmaker, the one who orchestrated the whole situation. Perhaps she has an explanation.
At some point, found out you were pregnant.
Yes, Shauna.
Tell me what happened.
I was going to my friend's house. You know, I felt as though she was my real friend. She had my best interest in mind.
Now, there are different versions of the story. Enough with the victim mentality. Miss White's choices weren't just unfortunate circumstances, they were reckless. And now, an innocent child was caught in the middle.
I wasn't dating him. That was just like a one-night stand, Yana.
But obviously, you slept with him during that same period of conception.
Yes.
Were there any other men you were with during this time?
There was a other guy that I had met at her house.
The judge doesn't sugarcoat it. She calls it what it is, a pattern of self-destruction disguised as a search for love. And it needs to end. Now, whether it was the friend who was pushing her or not, she had to make her own decisions. And the men in question, they don't escape her wrath either.
You all can argue back and forth across this aisle, but this is her choice. And she admits that she's sleeping with men for the wrong reason. She already said that. And ultimately, you know this is your responsibility.
Yes, Yana.
The time for bad choices is over. The time for self-pity is done. It's time to grow up, step up, and break the cycle before history repeats itself. For Miss White, it's a reality check that can't be ignored. And then, the moment everyone has been waiting for, the DNA results.
Mr. Clopton, you are not the father. Mr. Langford, you are her father.
Some cases unravel slowly, piece by piece. Others explode in the courtroom, but this one, it did both. At the center of the dispute is a 6-month-old baby, Kendall, born with a serious medical condition that may be genetic.
My son has to see a surgeon twice a month. He's in and out of the hospital with infections in his intestines, and my son deserves to know who his dad is.
And it is zero doubt in your mind.
Whenever you had baby then?
Because you ignored my calls and text messages.
So, Ms. Renfro, there's zero doubt in your mind that your son's biological father is Mr. Tuesday.
I'm 100% sure that he's the father.
The baby's mother, Ms. Renfro, has no doubts. She is absolutely certain that Mr. Tuesday is the father. Her conviction isn't just emotional. She believes that Kendall's health issues could be linked to Tuesday's DNA, making today's paternity results more than just a question of responsibility. For her, the truth could mean understanding her child's medical future.
Ms. Renfro, you claim you are 100% certain that the defendant is the father of your 6-month-old son, Kendall. You say Kendall was born with a serious medical condition and believe it was genetically passed down by the defendant. And that's why today's paternity results are critical. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
But Tuesday isn't convinced, not even a little. In his mind, there is no chance he's the father, and today's test is nothing more than a formality to clear his name. From the very beginning, he has denied any possibility of paternity, standing firm in his belief that Ms. Renfro is mistaken, or worse, lying.
Mr. Tuesday, you are certain you are not her child's biological father and say the truth will be revealed today. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Renfro wasted no time making her case. She detailed Mr. Tuesday's absence, not just from her life, but from the life of the child in question. Judge Lauren was puzzled, but she wanted to know why Ms. Renfro believed that Tuesday was the father of the baby.
So, Ms. Renfro, why do you believe Mr. Tuesday is denying paternity?
He don't want to take financial responsibility. He hasn't been there. He wasn't there through my pregnancy. When I had the baby, he wasn't there. For his surgery, he wasn't there. I've contacted him. I tried to let him know, and there was still nothing, no response.
From the moment she discovered she was pregnant, Tuesday had disappeared. The judge now turned to him to understand what was going on. Mr. Tuesday's defense was blunt, almost dismissive. He denied running away and revealed his reason for not being involved with the child.
Your Honor, I seen him one time. I went over her house one time, and that was it. And I realized the baby just don't look nowhere near like me.
So you admit you have not stepped up to the plate for the baby because you truly don't believe this child is your child?
Yes, Your Honor. I mean, I looked at the baby. Look, the baby looks way too white.
Genetics can be funny, but it's often hard to determine paternity by looking at the skin color of your baby. Ms. Renfro went went on to explain her relationship with Tuzi and how she is confident that there had been no foul play from her. But then, the details started coming out.
Were you intimate with anybody else during the
ma'am.
window of time when Kendall was conceived?
No, Your Honor.
Are you sure of that?
Yes, I'm 100% sure. I know who my kids belong to. I don't just lay down with everybody. I don't sleep with everybody unprotected. And
For Tuzi, this revelation was everything he needed. From his perspective, it confirmed what he had been saying all along. He had been dragged into something that wasn't his problem. He wasn't dodging responsibility. He was being falsely accused. The energy in the room shifted when the results were revealed.
Mr. Tuzi, you are not the father.
oops.
Told you!
Tuzi's reaction was instant. Relief, celebration, a surge of emotion that had been building up since this entire ordeal started. But just as quickly as his celebration began, it was shut down. This wasn't a game. This was a courtroom. And at the heart of this case was a baby whose future now hung in uncertainty.
Calm down, Mr.
Calm down.
Tuzi. Calm down. This ain't a stadium, and the child's life is truly at stake now.
Yes, Your Honor.
Miss Renfro,
Yes, ma'am.
that's not your child's biological father.
That's fine. That is fine. I'm okay with that.
Do you know who is?
Yes, ma'am.
Ooh, there's a fine line between confidence and arrogance. Ms. Renfro had just crossed it. This wasn't just about getting the wrong man. It was about accountability. The judge had no patience for the way Renfro had handled the situation.
Look, little smart mouth. No, hold on. Because you done got on my nerves now. Because you got a smart mouth, but you're not smart enough to know when you're lying. Sitting up trying to pin a baby on a man.
What is a
Hold on,
pinning
I'm
baby?
talking now. Since all you can do is shrug your shoulders, stay silent. Because you were so dramatic about how Mr. Tuzi had never done anything.
There's nothing straightforward about this case. On one hand, Ms. Miller is determined to prove that her ex-boyfriend, Mr. Rasmussen, is not the biological father of her 3-year-old daughter, Zaylee. On the other hand, Mr. Rasmussen is just as adamant. He is the father, and he's here to prove it. The battle lines have long been drawn, with custody fights and repeated petitions for a DNA test that were consistently denied. But today, the truth will finally be revealed.
Ms. Miller, you're here to prove to your ex-boyfriend, Scotty Rasmussen, that he is not the father of your 3-year-old daughter, Zaylee Rasmussen.
Yes, Your Honor.
You claim you've been in an ongoing court battle over custody and have petitioned the court several times for a DNA test, all of which have been denied.
Yes, Your Honor.
From the start, the judge's patience begins to wear thin. Ms. Miller insists that Mr. Rasmussen is only pushing for visitation rights to claim Zaylee on his taxes, a claim he furiously denies. He argues that he has driven thousands of miles and paid child support despite Ms. Miller's ongoing attempts to keep him out of their daughter's life.
Yes, I was very mad at him for being a cheater. He cheated on me through pretty much our whole relationship. No, I do not hate him because of that. I lost my respect for him, yes.
He says this is about visitation, too. He loves his daughter, but you don't want him to have the visitation. Is that true?
Yes, Your Honor.
The back and forth quickly turns heated as both sides accuse each other of manipulation, dishonesty, and selfish motives. The judge's frustration grows when Ms. Miller states that she has always believed Mr. Rasmussen isn't the father. The reason? She claims that during the month of conception, Mr. Rasmussen wasn't even in the same state. He was in Las Vegas while she was with someone else.
Why is it you don't want him involved in this child's life?
Because I still believe that he's not hers.
Okay, and listen, that's what we're here for. I want to get down to the bottom of the truth.
Yeah.
You don't believe he's her biological father.
Yes, Your Honor.
So explain to me why.
When she was conceived in March of 2011. He wasn't even in the same state.
It was a terrible mistake indeed. Clearly, Ms. Miller did not forgive the mistake. Despite their affairs, Mr. Rasmussen believed wholeheartedly that he was the father. Although Ms. Miller claimed that another man was responsible for the pregnancy, Mr. Rasmussen's beliefs didn't waver.
What point were you ever told that you were not her biological father?
I believed I was, and still believe, I was the only biological father until about 5 or 6 months or so, give or take, after she was born. We were at family court talking talking to the family court commissioner about custody and the things that go along with that, like where she'd be going to school, her doctor, and all that.
According to Mr. Rasmussen, he was never given any indication that he wasn't the father until months after Zaylee was born. He had been there for every doctor's appointment, signed the birth certificate, and even rushed through treacherous winter roads to be present at the birth.
On the birth certificate.
Yep, I was at...
You're at the birth?
I was at the birth. I was at every single doctor's appointment. When Zaylee was born, you were at a doctor's appointment. I was at home because I had to work that day. I was at my job as a cashier. I got a phone call and I answered it. They said she was going into labor. I said, okay. I hung up the phone. I quickly finished up as fast as I could with that particular customer.
That last detail, however, ignites a new round of hostility. Ms. Miller scoffs, calling his story a complete fabrication. She remembers him differently, disinterested, detached, glued to his computer while she was in labor. He fires back, saying he had to keep himself distracted because he was overwhelmed with excitement. The judge, already growing tired of their contradictions, demands that they stop arguing about emotions and focus on facts.
What was the problem exactly? You let him sign the birth certificate?
I gave my daughter my last name.
Because we were engaged, and I thought we were going to get married. I thought we were going to have a happy life and raise our daughter together until about 3 months after she was born, one of his friends told me everything that he was doing throughout our entire relationship, cheating on me.
And then, the final straw. Mr. Rasmussen's contributions include child support payments, travel expenses, and a willingness to be in Zaylee's life. Meanwhile, Ms. Miller firmly believes that he is not the father, despite allowing her daughter to carry his last name and accepting his financial support for years. The inconsistency is glaring, and the judge does not hold back.
I'm not even quite sure. After we broke up, he changed his number, he moved, he pretty much disappeared. I have tried to find him, I have tried to get a hold of him, and I can't find him.
But you keep saying, Mr. Rasmussen cheated, he did this, he did that. And as wrong as that may be, you also slept with somebody else.
We weren't even dating then. I was single at that time, because he was with this other lady and I was the side chick, which I didn't even really know about.
The frustration boils over. How could she take his money, let him sign legal documents, and still insist she was always sure he wasn't the father? It reeks of manipulation, and the judge does not tolerate games in this courtroom. At this point, there is only one thing left: cut through the chaos and deliver the truth.
Mr. Rasmussen, you are not the father.
The woman, who had spent the entire trial alternating between outrage and desperation, barely let the words sink in before exploding with excitement. But not everyone shared her enthusiasm. Judge Lauren, who had spent the entire case barely tolerating the theatrics, had reached her limit.
Miss Miller.
Be respectful.
Sorry.
Miss Miller.
I'm sorry.
That's a lot of nerve considering the alternative is somebody that don't want nothing to do with you or your child.
I'm sorry.
That's a lot of nerve. You just showed me where your priorities were right there.
I'm sorry.
Because I held out hope.
Ms. Lopez walked into the courtroom with one goal: to prove, once and for all, that Mr. Carbajal was the father of her children. She was tired of the elaborate schemes she believed he had orchestrated to deny his responsibility. According to her, he had gone so far as to manipulate a DNA test just to escape his obligations. Today, she was determined to expose the truth.
Ms. Lopez, you are here today because you claim the defendant, Mr. Carbajal, allegedly perpetuated a DNA testing scam to try to deny paternity of your kids. You say you are tired of struggling daily to take care of your children alone, and you need to prove he's their biological father.
But if Ms. Lopez was here to fight for justice, Mr. Carbajal was here for redemption. He painted a very different picture, one where he was the true victim of deceit. He was adamant. This wasn't about dodging responsibility. It was about clearing his name from a fabricated story, and today, he would prove it.
Carbajal, you say the plaintiff has left your life in ruins.
Yes.
By fraudulently claiming you are the father of her children, you argue that you did not perpetrate a DNA testing scam and are here today to prove it.
Yes, Your Honor.
This is going to be a long case. To get to the root of the matter, Judge Lauren wanted to know their history, as this would tell her why the child's paternity is even in question. However, what started as a routine question quickly escalated.
Well, I met her through a social network. She told me, hey, come see me, for the weekend or just one night. So I want to go see her. And that day that I want to go see her, she'd we basically have sex that first night.
It was not that
yes,
first
it
night.
was.
No.
Yes, it
No,
was
it
the first
wasn't.
night. Yes,
No.
it was. Yes, it was.
No, it was not.
Yeah, whatever.
Ms. Lopez confirmed that she was the mother of 2 children. But it wasn't just the usual paternity dispute. Mr. Carbajal was contesting fatherhood for both of them. Ms. Lopez claimed she was 100% sure that Mr. Carbajal was the father, but Mr. Carbajal argued that it was all about money.
So you claim Mr. Carbajal was the only person you were with
Yes, Your Honor.
during that time that she
Yes,
was
Your Honor.
conceived.
All she's doing this because she wants our money. She knows my
I don't
family.
care
She
about
she
money,
knows my
okay?
family has money, and she knows I don't work.
I don't care
I
about
don't
money,
work,
Your Honor.
right?
I growing up, I did not have a father, and I did not want my daughter growing up without a father.
Well, that's
It
not my
hurts me to
problem.
know that she does not have him around.
The case is getting heated. Mr. Carbajal voiced his doubts. His claim was simple. He had never signed his son's birth certificate. From his perspective, that alone cast a shadow over everything. Why, if he was truly the father, had he been denied that right? But Ms. Lopez fired back that he hadn't been there. The child's grandmother wasn't about to let the truth be twisted.
Why couldn't I sign a birth certificate?
Because you weren't there from the beginning.
I was there.
I was there when they both were born.
Hold on, Miss Avila, please stand up. Stand up. What is it that you'd like to add? They're saying they were at the hospital. You say they weren't?
They were at the hospital after they were born. I was there when Aliana was born, when she was being pulled out of my daughter. Second time around, he wasn't there either for Noah's birth. I was there for Noah's birth.
Mr. Carbajal swore that he had not committed any kind of DNA fraud and was upset that a wrong accusation had followed him like a shadow. The case took a sharp turn when an unsettling piece of evidence surfaced.
So you have an issue regarding the fact that he has a cleft lip. You say no one in your family has ever been born with that. So you believe he's not yours?
Your Honor.
She also sent me a picture of a man holding my baby. So
wait,
that was to get back at you
why would
because
she
you're
send that?
not responsible.
Ms. Lopez's explanation was flimsy at best. She claimed it was an attempt to push him into stepping up, to make him jealous, to force his hand. But the damage was already done. Doubt had been planted, and it was growing fast.
I had no sexual contact with my ex or anybody else but your brother, Christina.
That was too soon, though.
It was not too
Yes,
soon.
yes,
The
it
time
was.
that you sent us that picture, you were already pregnant with Noah.
Yes,
and
you
that
were.
guy looks exactly like Noah.
Yeah.
No.
Yes.
Hold on, Miss Carbajal, let me understand what you're just stating. State it again.
Ms. Lopez swore she hadn't been with anyone else and pointed to a physical trait, the child's cleft lip. She admitted that no one in Mr. Carbajal's family had ever been born with such a feature, but she still believed he was the father. Then, the moment of truth arrived. The results were in.
Mr. Carbajal, you are not her father.
Ms. Lopez, once fiery in her accusations, was suddenly at a loss for words. Ms. Lopez had not just lied. She had stood before the court and woven an intricate web of deception, all while attempting to cast an innocent man and his family as villains. But the judge's reaction truly set the tone for what came next. Up until this point, patience had been exercised, but now it has run out.
You know what? We have the results now from a laboratory conducted DNA test, and you sitting up there still arguing about a home DNA test. Now I know you all don't have no sense.
There's no way.
You're just looking for something to argue about. You're just looking for something to say.
Ms. Beckley is present in paternity court today as she has had enough of Mr. Allen's absence in her 1-year-old daughter's life. And this case is about to get really insane.
Ms. Beckley, you are in court today to prove Mr. Allen is the biological father of your 1-year-old daughter, Italy Beckley.
Yes, Your Honor.
You say Mr. Allen has only seen his daughter one time since she has been born, and you want him to take responsibility starting today. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Beckley says Mr. Allen has only seen her daughter just once since birth, and that's quite worrisome. Mr. Allen, on the other hand, says Ms. Beckley's baseless accusation of him being the biological father of her daughter is a problem in his present relationship, and now we have to dig through what their past has been like.
So, Ms. Beckley, how do you feel that Mr. Allen has only seen your daughter once?
I'm very angry, very frustrated. He's been neglecting her from day one since I got pregnant with her. And I'm just sick of it, and I just want him to take responsibility of something we both made.
It makes me feel angry. I'm angry.
Ms. Beckley is getting emotional over Mr. Allen's neglect towards her daughter. But the story gets more confusing when Ms. Beckley reveals they have 2 other kids together, and Mr. Allen is present in their lives. We really need to hear Mr. Allen's side of the story about his behavior towards 1-year-old Italy.
Mr. Allen, are you neglecting Italy? Why are you not in her life?
Your Honor, the time of conception made me have doubts, strong doubts. Well, me and Miss Beckley had separated. We were co-parenting. We were still good friends.
That's not true. On Germany's 2nd birthday, he wasn't staying with me, but he ended up coming back on her birthday. We had sex, unprotected.
It wasn't baby-making sex. It was angry sex.
It's not about baby-making sex. Sex is...
Mr. Allen's claim is solely on having doubts. Yeah, that's completely understandable. But what exactly did Mr. Allen mean by it wasn't baby-making sex? It was angry sex. Someone needs to educate Mr. Allen that any kind of sex can lead to a baby.
You admit that?
I wouldn't say intimate, but I would say we did, yes.
Sex is intimate.
You had sex?
Yes.
Angry, happy, sad, confused. All those make babies. Did you use protection?
No, Your Honor.
All right. So how long after that did you find out she was pregnant?
Within a day or 2.
A day or 2?
Yes, Your Honor.
That's a lie.
Yes, within a day
That
or
is
2,
a lie.
she told me.
How
Yes,
can I
Your
tell
Honor.
you a day after?
Unprotected sexual intercourse definitely puts Mr. Allen on the list of the baby's potential father. However, Mr. Allen claims Ms. Beckley told him she was pregnant after a day or 2. Even if a woman wanted to pin pregnancy on a man, she wouldn't do it a day or 2 after they had just copulated. So yeah, it doesn't make any sense as Ms. Beckley stated.
How long after you had sex before you found out you were pregnant and let Mr. Allen know?
So it was after a month when I found I was pregnant, and from that it was like, oh, that don't make sense that you got pregnant too fast. Well, of course,
So you have other children that he accepts. Was he supportive during the pregnancy with Italy? Was he there for you? Doctor's appointment?
No, ma'am. I had emergency C-section. I was at the hospital by myself. He was not there.
Notifying Mr. Allen after about a month seems plausible since the pregnancy hormones would have started kicking in. But according to Ms. Beckley, Mr. Allen said she got pregnant too fast. Mr. Allen indeed needs a sex ed class. Also, a woman having a cesarean section without the baby daddy right by her side is insane.
And I called for a DNA test, Miss Beckley.
You did not.
You denied me a DNA test
crazy.
twice. Okay. Twice. And now you telling me I don't deserve it? I have children, and all of them have my last name. I didn't have my biological father in my life. So it would be a shame for me not to step up for mine. It would be a shame.
You denied.
Oh, Mr. Allen says he had requested for a DNA test twice, but Ms. Beckley was hesitant to agree to the test. But in the same breath, Ms. Beckley says nothing like that happened. Anyway, Mr. Allen says he would have done right by the child if he knew for sure that she's his biological daughter.
Well, Your Honor, I have questioned Shamia about Italy. I asked could I speak to her. She say no. I asked when she come, while us having a visitation every other week, we have swap and exchange at a police station. She don't bring Italy. She don't make Italy a factor to my life. She gave
You're denying her. Why would I bring her to see you? That don't make sense.
She gave Italy her last name for the simple fact that she want to hurt me and break me down as a father.
Again, Ms. Beckley seems to be intentionally disconnecting 1-year-old Idale from Mr. Allen due to his prior denial of the baby. Ms. Beckley won't even drop off the baby with the other children. That seems to be a problem coming from Ms. Beckley.
Montgomery, I'm Darius' fiance, Your Honor. She has told Darius that he was not the father. It's been said that she's told another guy he was the father.
Okay, y'all got proof of that, and y'all fiancés, where the ring at?
Girl, mind your business.
Where the ring at, right? You have no business, that's why you're here. Because you're worried about, was you in the bed with me and him when we had her?
Mr. Allen's fiance testifies Ms. Beckley has said the magic words of "you're not the father" to Mr. Allen, but Ms. Beckley wants her to provide proof of her saying those words. However, the atmosphere is getting heated, and the only way to end this is to open the envelope and get the truth.
Mr. Allen, you are the father.
Told you. You too, fiancé. Stepmama.
Stop.
Your Honor.
You all are still very much tied. Everybody in this room can see it.
Ms. Lyde is in denial about the man she has believed to be her biological father for over 2 decades now, turning the clock around and denying her as her father.
Ms. Lyde, you say that for 26 years you have known only one man, the defendant, Mr. Ellis, to be your biological father. And you're devastated that he is claiming you're not his.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Ellis claims Ms. Lyde's mother was not the woman he thought she was in their 7-year relationship as she cheated on him. This makes Mr. Ellis believe he isn't the biological father to Ms. Lyde, but this is Judge Lauren's paternity court. Never say never.
How was your relationship with Mr. Ellis growing up?
I didn't really have a relationship with Mr. Ellis growing up. It was just me and my mom. I've been in and out of group homes, foster homes. No male role model in my life. It's been hard. I had a long, hard life growing up.
Moving from one foster home to the other must have been difficult for Ms. Lyde, but Mr. Ellis doesn't seem to be getting all emotional because of that reason. Mr. Ellis hits the hammer on the nail, saying Ms. Lyde is bright in color, meaning her mother could have slept with a white dude while she was partying all around in her prime.
Mr. Ellis, explain that. You had a DNA test already.
Yes.
Explain.
When I was away, her mother called child support on me. They came and took the DNA test.
You got the results back?
I got the results back. It was 99.9 that I wasn't the father. So I showed her the paperwork.
So wouldn't you 99.9% that you were not
Yes, it was something
the
like
father?
That. Something like that, yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Ellis had previously already had a DNA test done, and the result came back as him not being Ms. Lyde's biological father. Being taken off child support is a relief to any man who wasn't willing to be in a child's life. So that must have been enough for Mr. Ellis, as he said.
I'd like to hear from your mother. Please stand, ma'am.
Yes,
Ms.
ma'am.
Lyde, you are Danielle's mother.
Yes, ma'am.
Was there a DNA test performed?
The test got was from her. Do not court, but they never showed.
The bottom line is a DNA test was performed, yes or no?
Yes.
What were the results?
They said in the court 99% yes.
That 99.9% that yes, he was Danielle's biological father.
Yes, that was, that's
Thank you so much. That's what I wanted to know.
The story changes as Ms. Lyde's mother claims a DNA test was truly conducted, but the result was the opposite of what Mr. Ellis said. Ms. Lyde's mother claimed the test result was 99% positive that Mr. Ellis is Ms. Lyde's biological father, and that makes the story complicated. So, who's telling the truth?
Why do you feel in your heart this man is denying you?
People do things in life that is unexplainable. Me, I look at myself and I love myself. I look at myself in the mirror every day and I appreciate myself. So if another human being on this earth don't want to accept me for who I am, that's not going to stop me from loving me for who I am.
Ms. Lyde doesn't care whether Mr. Ellis accepts her or not. She believes she's enough, and no one can tell her otherwise. However, Mr. Ellis says it's Ms. Lyde's mother that is to be blamed as she's not being transparent about her paternity issue.
What are you feeling?
And I feel like if you are old enough to, like, what you guys went through was not my fault. And you guys should never have involved me in anything that you guys were going through. I will never put my kids through that, ever. You guys should have settled this the right way, the appropriate way, not wait for it to see the outcome of it. This is the outcome of it.
And you're right, and that's why for years I've been telling your mama to quit lying to you and tell you the truth about who your father is, so you find your real father.
I feel like
that's why I called the
truth.
courts.
I deserve
That's
to know
why I
what's
called the
going
courts.
on.
That's spot on with Ms. Lyde saying their affair from decades ago shouldn't have had to be her business in any way, but it is what it is. She's caught up in the web already. However, Mr. Ellis is firm in his stance about Ms. Lyde's mother being a liar and making the entire situation messy for both parties.
Hello, ma'am. Thank you for joining us today. Why are you convinced that your son isn't Miss Lyde's biological father?
When I first saw the baby at a month old, she looked 4 months old. And from what I had heard from my son, her father's a great big man. What I heard from my neighbor, she has a little brother that she and the little brother were like twins. And the grandmother, Miss Lyde Sr.'s mother, brought the baby over in the house behind mine every day for a week.
Mr. Ellis' mother's story seems to be as confusing as the messy situation. From one person to another person, and we don't even understand what happened during that time. To make matters worse, Mr. Ellis' mother never saw the DNA test result.
Your Honor, I feel sorry for this child. I've told him this, and I've told my whole family this.
I don't need anybody to feel sorry for me at all. Because at the end of the day, I'm blessed. I just want to know the truth.
But the DNA test told it already.
Let it go. Let it go. She's lying still.
Mr. Ellis seems to be a mama's boy seeing how his mother talks to him. Anyway, Ms. Lyde doesn't want anyone to feel sorry for her. She just wants to know the truth. So let's get to the bottom of this.
Mr. Ellis, you are the father.
Whoa! I knew it. Yes. Boom. Ha.
Yeah. girl.
High school love soaring past high school is a dream many people wish they could have. But Ms. Walton and Mr. Cherry's high school love that escaped the shores of their high school education didn't turn out the way they had hoped it would.
Ms. Walton, you say your 9-year relationship with your high school love is in jeopardy because he denies fathering your 1-year-old son, Josiah. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Cherry, you claim that Ms. Walton cheated constantly with another man, and you are 100% sure that he is the father. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Walton says things are about to go really bad in her high school love relationship as Mr. Cherry is walking out on her for good as soon as he confirms he didn't father Ms. Walton's 1-year-old son. But Mr. Cherry's planned decision is valid because he claimed Ms. Walton had been a cheat in the course of their relationship.
So, Ms. Walton, why is this DNA test so important to you?
Because, Your Honor, for the past year, he not my son. I'm not going to do nothing for him. And all this, and then he treats my other 2 kids way different than he does Josiah at home. And I really need him to step up and be a father to my son as what he's supposed to be because that's his son. Look at him. That's his twin.
A 9-year relationship being on rocks would definitely have anyone bawling their eyes out because where does one even go from there? Ms. Walton says Mr. Cherry treats their other children differently than her 1-year-old son because he believes he's not his biological father.
Cherry, you really have doubt?
Yes, I do. I do have doubts because throughout our relationship, it's been just straight lies, so...
Not true.
I just want to be here to let her know that everything that's been going on in our relationship is just lies.
So when you say straight lies, I mean, it's been a 9-year relationship.
Yes, it's been on and off. It's been kind of rocky. We've been knowing each other since high school. That's my high school sweetheart.
Mr. Cherry's side of the story sounds touching. From high school sweethearts to paternity court trying to find out the biological father of a baby is unbelievable. Mr. Cherry says Miss Walton lies way too much, and that's part of the reason he has doubts about the paternity of the baby.
It started to go wrong around the time that after high school. We was on and off. I lost contact, so it got kind of hectic between me and her. She decided to want to do what she want to do. I decided to do what I want to do.
So you said you did what you wanted to do and she did what she wanted to do. Does that mean you all were dating other people and seeing other people?
Yes. If he cheated, I cheated.
Mr. Cherry and Ms. Walton's game of retaliation has led to this messy situation where the biological father of a baby, both of them probably made, is up for questioning and about to be determined through a DNA test.
Let me ask you this. Were you and your ex using protection, Ms. Walton?
Yes. Now, with Mr. Cherry, I don't use protection. I don't think I need to. If I do, I'm questioning him.
Well,
but for my ex, I did use protection, so it's no possibility that Josiah is his son.
Ms. Walton made sure she was protected whenever she was her ex, while the same couldn't be said for when she was with Mr. Cherry. However, the judge's conception calculation, according to Ms. Walton's dates, created more doubts than Mr. Cherry had.
I've been receiving messages. I caught her, she confessed. I logged into her friend's Facebook account. I seen messages numerous of times, not once, not twice. I have a family member, her kids even told me that a guy's been coming over, that has gold teeth in his mouth. It's just what I know.
Mr. Cherry, in fact, has more than one reason to doubt the baby's paternity, seeing how he's detailing the stories he's heard from people around them and even text messages proof. But that's not a 100% reason for the baby to not be his, though.
When you found out you were pregnant with Josiah,
he was happy, y'all.
And he was happy about it.
We bought pregnancy tests. He even called and made doctor's appointments.
Okay, and I have to ask you this. Since we're being honest today, when you found out you were pregnant, who did you tell?
I told my best friend.
You told your best friend and you told Mr. Cherry?
Yes.
Did you tell the other man?
No.
Ms. Walton is going full force with her honesty, as she reveals she didn't tell the other man she was having something with that she was pregnant, as she didn't see the need for it. But how is Ms. Walton so sure Mr. Cherry is the father?
How can you definitively say he is not my child's father when you admit that you were sleeping with him before you were sleeping with Mr. Cherry?
I know them. And had he looked like my ex, me as a woman, I would have said, look, this is possibility not your baby. We're going to do this when he born, and this is what it is.
Look at the features. Look at his ears. Look at his forehead. Look at the eyes.
That's all of you. The nose, the eyes is from me. The color is from me. The hair is from me. He is his mama's child.
Ms. Walton says she just knows, and some of the baby's features prove her point. Well, that's possible, but sometimes the female instincts aren't as accurate as people think. Let's find out if Ms. Walton's instincts were right or wrong.
Mr. Cherry, you are the father. Feels good to hear that.
Yes.
While most mothers in paternity court want the supposed baby daddy to accept their child, it's the complete opposite with Ms. Taylor in this case.
Mr. Thompson, you claim you've always known Miss Turner was your child and searched for Miss Turner for 14 years.
Ms. Taylor has kept her baby hidden from Mr. Thompson for 14 years because she doesn't want them to have any connection, as Mr. Thompson is not the father of her daughter. Mr. Thompson, on the other hand, wants to be a part of the daughter's life, but Ms. Taylor won't give him a chance.
So, Miss Taylor, why did you keep your daughter away from Mr. Thompson?
First off, the lifestyle that Mr. Thompson was living at the time, I really didn't want that for my daughter. And my mother had my daughter while I was going through something. And I spoke with my mother about him coming to see her. And my mother said no, she would let me handle it when I got back. When I came home, I didn't know where Mr. Thompson was.
That's a whole lot to take in for anyone. Realizing one's supposed baby daddy is married and out of sight is another level of heartbreak no one wishes for. In addition to the marriage situation, Ms. Taylor's mother didn't let her have her daughter be introduced to Mr. Thompson.
Did you know Miss Taylor was pregnant?
Yes.
Were you involved in the pregnancy?
Yes.
You were. In which way?
She was pregnant 3 months. We were still together. And then that's when, she went her way and I went mine. But she just up and disappeared.
So
I moved to another state.
Did you move to another state before or after you had the baby?
After. I don't know.
So, Mr. Thompson, you were away when she had the baby. You weren't around, but did you know she had the baby? Were you informed?
No.
The atmosphere in the room goes from anger to sadness as Mr. Thompson reveals how he didn't get the pictures Ms. Taylor sent after the birth of the baby. Also, the demise of Mr. Thompson's grandmother and the story behind him seeing the pictures being talked about. Mr. Thompson seems like a good guy, but who knows?
Why is it you don't think he's your daughter's biological father?
The reason why I'm saying that is because during this time, before I met Mr. Thompson, I was having an affair with a married man. And being that I was having an affair with a married man, honestly, I didn't know if it was the married man's child or Mr. Thompson's child.
An affair with a married man? Ms. Taylor just got to the point everyone's been waiting for. It makes sense that she believes Mr. Thompson is not the father of her daughter, even though that's not certain just yet, but at least Mr. Thompson knows there's another potential biological father in the picture.
Who does your daughter believe is her father?
She believes that Mr. Thompson is her father.
Well, can I ask her something? Why you take my baby and run off and don't do nothing?
I didn't.
I'm just
take
you know
off.
where I was at.
I did not take. No, I didn't.
Ms. Taylor still made her daughter believe Mr. Thompson was her father, and she had been denying him access to her for close to 2 decades. Mr. Thompson is in the witness stand wondering why Ms. Taylor behaved the way she did. Well, everyone is thinking about that too, Mr. Thompson. Only Ms. Taylor understands her thought process of running off with her daughter.
He is her biological father. Why not tell him where she is?
When I did get in contact with Mr. Thompson, which was in October of 2012 via Facebook, that's when he started to know where we were and where she was.
Did you ever tell the married man
I told both of them.
that he potentially could be the father?
I told both of them.
And what was his response?
He didn't want nothing to do with it.
The other potential father didn't want to have anything to do with Ms. Taylor's baby, and it seems like she took the anger out on Mr. Thompson by not giving him a chance to know his supposed daughter.
Hi, Ms. Turner. Thank you for joining us. Your mom has testified, Mr. Thompson's testified, but we want to know from you, who did you grow up believing your biological father was?
Well, in 2012, my mom informed me that Mr. Thompson was my biological father, and so I kind of formed a relationship with him.
Ms. Turner enters the conversation with more depressing news, saying she believed she didn't have a father until 2012. Ms. Taylor refused to tell her anything about her father until that time. That could be hard for anyone while growing up, but Ms. Turner is here smiling and readjusting her hair like it had not been a problem in her life.
You feel you could ask your mom?
I felt like it was going to be an argument, and we would just fight about it, and I would never get the answer. I'm sorry.
So your mom came to you in 2012 and said Mr. Thompson is your biological father?
Yes.
Then at what point did you find out there was a possibility that Mr. Thompson was not your biological father?
Just last week.
Really?
Ms. Turner is finally letting the emotional distress out with the way she keeps holding back her tears. Ms. Taylor seemed to have caused a lot of problems, from running off with her daughter, keeping her potential father out of the loop, to telling her daughter years later about her potential father, and just dragging everyone along in the mess she had created. Time to know the result.
Mr. Thompson, you are not her father. I'm so sorry. Miss Taylor, do you know where the man that you say would be the other possibility? Do you know where he is?
Yes.
You do?
There are different versions of "I'm not your baby daddy" and "You're my baby daddy" in paternity court, but it gets crazy when a child is rejected to avoid having more kids than you can cater for.
Ms. McKenzie, you say Mr. Guy abandoned you and your daughter, Anaya, soon after she was born, and denies he's her father only because he already has too many kids.
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. McKenzie believes the only reason Mr. Guy is rejecting her baby is because he has so many kids already, and he's unwilling to accept her own baby to maintain the status quo he's currently at. However, Mr. Guy refuted that claim, saying he's not accepting the baby just because he believes that's not his child. Now let's see what the problem really is.
So, Ms. McKenzie, when did you first realize that he denied he was your daughter's father?
Well, when I told him that I was pregnant, he kind of was shocked a little bit. Then he was like, "She gonna be my 13th daughter. How can I take care of all of them?"
His what child?
13th kid.
13 kids, Mr. Guy?
No, Your Honor. I told her I had 8.
He told me he had 8, and then he said when I told him I was pregnant, he said 13.
You're definitely wrong about that.
No, Tim,
You're definitely wrong about that.
So you're saying before he told you he had 8?
Yeah.
13? Using protection would have sufficed, but Mr. Guy doesn't seem to know about that, and hence the unending reproduction process with different women. And what was that about going to college with one of his kids? Whew. Mr. Guy doesn't even seem to know how to pick a woman in his range.
After I had her, he was at the hospital and everything. When he brought us home, he just basically set her on the floor in her car seat. He was like, "I gotta go run an errand," and he never came back. So he just left her there. He just left us there for months.
So you come in from the hospital.
Yes.
And he puts her on the floor in the car seat.
Yes.
And says, "I gotta run an errand."
Yes.
And never comes back.
Exactly.
Mr. Guy dropped Ms. McKenzie and her baby and ran off for months. That seems like the kind of guy any woman should avoid. Ms. McKenzie claimed she had to call Mr. Guy with a different number so he'd pick up. That's sad. We need to hear Mr. Guy's reason for behaving the way he did.
Mr. Guy, have you been avoiding her calls all that time?
Yes, Your Honor.
Why?
She was harassing me.
Harassing you about what?
Baby this, baby that.
Because she's your baby.
That ain't my baby,
Okay.
It's Milkman's baby, somebody's baby, but it wasn't mine.
Excuse me.
Why did you say it wasn't yours? Were you sleeping with her?
I was sleeping with her.
Were you using protection?
No, Your Honor.
So how do you think you're excluded from possibility?
When the baby was born, I was at the hospital and looked at the baby. I said, "This ain't my baby."
Mr. Guy's reason for running off was that he believed the baby wasn't his since he looked at the baby the first time when they were in the hospital. Okay, Mr. Guy. Additionally, Mr. Guy believes Ms. McKenzie had another dude around at the time of conception who may be the potential father. Okay.
So why are you denying this beautiful baby? You say you were having an intimate relationship with her. Why are you saying it's someone else's child?
One time, me and my brother pulled up. She was sitting in the car with somebody, and they was there for a while because we was sitting up there watching them.
What were they doing in the car?
I thought they was having sex.
Mr. Guy is a funny man. Who believes people are having sex just because they were in a car together? Safe to say only Mr. Guy and his brother. Anyway, Ms. McKenzie cleared the air explaining the situation and what had really happened in the car.
Ms. McKenzie, am I correct?
Yes.
And you are Ms. McKenzie's mother?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, Your Honor.
Anaya, your grandchild, is 3.
Yes, Your Honor.
And we've been having this paternity issue now for far too long. What do you know about the situation?
I'm really upset at Mr. Guy because he denying my granddaughter. She really don't even know who he is, and I'm upset with him. And I did live with them for a while, and he goes to the club. He might not even come in for 2 or 3 days.
Ms. McKenzie's mother is upset with Mr. Guy because of his attitude towards her granddaughter, which is valid. Mr. Guy has a lot going on in his head, but him leaving the house for 2 or 3 days because he's stressed at home seems like he was trying to run off again. But thankfully, he changed his mind and goes back home.
When I was sitting there taking care of the other siblings, she'll go to school in the morning time, which, she'll tell me a certain time and come in at 12 a.m. So I looked up the little schedule of the school. There's no way she could be taking night courses because it ain't no night courses.
Exactly. All right.
Mr. Guy is in court with a whole exhibit to justify his reason for having doubts about the paternity of the child, and that's fair. However, Mr. Guy's exhibit claims Ms. McKenzie doesn't follow her school schedule since she's not back at home until midnight when classes end hours earlier. Ms. McKenzie puts that that on the transportation schedule and her work routines.
Of stories because he has to make me look bad for the fact that.
So what you're saying is you were not sleeping with anyone else?
No.
There's no other possibility?
No.
Mr. Guy?
I think it's a lot of possibilities.
Why do you think there are a lot of possibilities?
Everything she's saying is inconsistent. Because like I said, I was there.
You was not there.
But
he comes to our city where we live, and I have to call him and say, do you want your kids here? Yeah, I come and get them. He never showed up. He came and got them for Thanksgiving.
Mr. Guy won't change his mind about Ms. Mackenzie's baby not being his, but Ms. Mackenzie says he was the only man she was messing around with at the time of conception. Mr. Guy's unavailability angers Ms. Mackenzie, and the only thing that can put an end to the issue is the DNA test result. Let's get to it.
Mr. Guy, you are her father. Now what, Mr. Guy? Speak.
I feel pretty much ashamed. I would like to be a father to her.
So what are you going to do? Where are we going to go from here?
Gotta first start by making up time with her, my daughter.
Yes.
A brief relationship could lead to a long-lasting and unwanted relationship between two people. Ms. Anthony is in paternity court due to her brief relationship with Mr. Porcio going south, and now she's blaming herself for it.
Ms. Anthony, you claim you had a short-term relationship with the defendant, Mr. Pouchot, who was initially excited when you told him you were pregnant. But now you are furious he is denying your 8-month-old son, Matthew. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Pouchot, you say you've never taken Ms. Anthony seriously, and she herself confessed to sleeping with other men during the time of conception. Is because you married someone else. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Anthony says her relationship with Mr. Porcio led to the pregnancy of her 8-month-old baby, but Mr. Porcio says that's a lie, and Ms. Anthony is just trying so hard to tag him as the biological father of her baby due to his present relationship with another person.
So, Ms. Anthony, what has Mr. Pouchot done for your child?
Not a damn thing, Your Honor. Nothing. Not a diapers, not wipes, not formula,
That's
not
only
anything.
because she told me that the child wasn't
I'm getting to
mine.
that. I told him that I did tell him that the child was not his, but Your Honor, he was not in a very good place in his life.
Mr. Porcio didn't feel the need to do any of the fatherly duties for Ms. Anthony's child because he believed he was not the father. However, Ms. Anthony made things worse as she already dropped the ball of Mr. Porcio not being the baby's father, but Ms. Anthony blamed it on the state of mind she was in back then.
Take me back. I want to understand the nature of this relationship. Were you all dating? Were you committed?
Well, I was sitting at the bus stop, and he walked up to me and asked me about one of my tattoos, and we just clicked from there. We were amazing when we were together. We didn't fight very much. We never argued. And then I went away for a little while.
Neither one of us were ready to be in a relationship nor have a child.
But it was a sexual relationship.
Yes, it was.
Were you using protection?
No, Your Honor, we were not.
That's an amazing connection, but things obviously didn't go as planned. Both sides agreed that their relationship was not a serious one at that time, but that should have been strongly considered while the unprotected sexual occurrences kept going, because there's only one way that is going to end: a baby. And here we are.
All right.
That picture.
First picture, you two look happy together.
We were.
Cute couple, April 4th, 2015. Is that the window of conception?
Yes, ma'am. That's actually the day, the highest, when they give you the week window.
Another photo of you two together, April 21st, 2015. Still in the month of April. And yet another one, April 8th, 2015.
And all this is after she told me that she was pregnant with another man's child, and I wasn't the father. I was trying to...
April 8th and April 4th were before.
The brief relationship did seem nice looking at the pictures, but that's over now. Mr. Porcio thinks Ms. Anthony is making things up with her mixed dates about the window of conception and the time she was due, but Ms. Anthony believes Mr. Porcio needs to go back to high to be able to comprehend what she's saying. Oops.
How did this relationship end, Miss Anthony?
He cheated on me with his spouse now. That is how that happened.
Actually,
and he begged me to
stay, I cheated on my spouse
left.
with you.
And now you're married, Mr. Pouchot.
Yes, ma'am.
Happily.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, okay, never mind. I don't have those text messages. Where you were going to get a divorce 2 weeks ago.
A divorce 2 weeks ago? How's that possible when Mr. Porcio just claimed he's currently happily married? Probably Mr. Porcio confided in Ms. Anthony, but we don't know since Ms. Anthony doesn't have the evidence for that statement.
Thank you for joining us, sir. Please state your name for the court.
Michael Pouchot.
Mr. Pouchot, you are what relation to Mr. Pouchot?
He's my husband.
He is your husband?
Yes, ma'am. I have proof of that.
Please proceed. present it to the court. All right, this is in fact your marriage.
Mr. Porcio's partner says he didn't know anything about their intimate relationship, but Ms. Anthony really said the baby wasn't Mr. Porcio's child. It seems like Ms. Anthony said the baby wasn't Mr. Porcio's baby more times than she can remember.
I did say that. You have to understand where I was coming from as a mother. You have to, and it was wrong of me. The decision I made was not right in any way, shape, or form. I understand that. But at that point in time, I thought that I was doing what was best for my child. I thought that I was making the best decision because he wasn't ready to be a parent.
Actually, my husband can attest to this. I've helped raise my nieces, my nephews, and I've been sober for 16 months now.
That's good. I'm proud of you for that.
Ms. Anthony is being honest with herself, knowing it wasn't right for her to say that line, "That's what is currently causing a ruckus." And what makes Mr. Porcio think the baby isn't his, regardless of how Ms. Anthony is trying to spin the narrative. Even though Mr. Porcio wants a baby, he doubts Ms. Anthony's baby being his child.
At the time the child was born, were you telling him he was the father?
I told him he wasn't.
He wasn't. So he wasn't present for the birth?
No, he was not, and I feel wrong. I stripped him of that, and that was wrong.
The man that was present for the birth signed the birth certificate.
Yes, ma'am.
And he's who I was told was the father.
And so there was another man at the hospital?
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Anthony may be messy and have made wrong choices, but she's pretty honest with herself about the situation. However, there are a lot of compounding stories being added to the story at this point. There was another man at the hospital, keeping the truth private while it was being posted on Facebook and whatnot. It's starting to get complicated, so it's about time we know if the child belongs to Mr. Porcio or not.
Mr. Porcio, you are the father. That's a lot of nerve, considering the alternative is somebody that don't want nothing to do with you or your child. He is over here breaking down because he loves this child so much. I sit here day after day after day with women hoping a man would drive 16 miles to see their baby. What is this that you perpetrating on these two men? I mean, you just got them all messed up in the head. Thought he was the father, then he heard you cheated, then he didn't want to be the father, but he is the father. You finally done now?
I think I'm starting to see the light, Your Honor.
Mr. Murray argues that his wife cheated on him while serving in the military. Like that is not enough, he also doubts the paternity of their daughter. Ms. Brown Murray is not having any of this and is outraged that her husband would accuse her of infidelity.
I'll be honest, when you're overseas at first, I mean, there's going to be temptations, there's going to be guys that look good, and there's going to be guys all around, and you're going to see guys, but that doesn't mean that you have to cheat and you have to go outside of your marriage.
You admit that there is temptation.
There's temptation.
Oh, so she admits to temptation. One can only imagine how it is, being shipped away overseas and under so much tension with people you share a passion for the motherland so greatly with. Surely, the temptation is apparent. However, one would assume that there is quite a lot to be occupied with as a soldier. It's quite unlike college that simply has dorm rooms packed with hormonal adults, Mr. Murray.
And I heard this enormous boom. It was so loud it shook my computer. I remember telling her, well, my wife, in a calm voice, she reminded me that this is her duty. This is she has to keep a calm level.
You're there actually facing this danger.
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you know?
Oh boy, now we know how preoccupied Ms. Brown Murray really was, and we know that he knows how preoccupied she was. The question now remains, why all this doubt? Why exactly does this man have fears about her loyalty to him?
My wife is going overseas. Don't know if I'm gonna ever see her again. If I do see her again in one piece, is she still gonna have love for me? It's a lot of men's on base, a younger man. Keep in mind, I'm 22 years older than my wife. So that has a lot to do with my being guilty or...
Now we're talking. Mr. Murray is indeed fully capable of fathering his own wife. Come on, 22 years older? That's what happens when you get married with such an age gap. He's projecting his insecurities onto their marriage, and it's so bad that he's questioning his kid's paternity.
If they have a group of people, and that group got to stay with each other, if they're there for 2 years, this is the only group of people you're going to see for 2 years. He said, yeah, there's married people. He said it could be 40 married ladies on base.
And that's not true.
He said it could be 40 married ladies on base, and he says every last one of them ladies...
Whoa, it stays on base, huh? Mr. Murray heard about this from an ex-military soldier who stays in his apartment building, and he held on to this information stronger than a newborn baby holds onto your finger.
They would be out, and we would go on what they call TDY, which is temporary duty. Term 4 was temporarily divorced.
Ms. Brown Murray, you had a close friend overseas.
Yes, I did.
Is that who your husband thinks the father of your child really is?
Yes, that's who he thinks to have had sex with.
Wait a minute, let me back that up. When I picked her up in November.
What a load of information. So some people get temporarily divorced, and after serving, some people would go back home and act like nothing happened. This is exactly what Mr. Murray thinks happened with his marriage. To further build on his insecurities, he knew about Miss Brown Murray's new friend. Oh, to have your wife be such close friends with a strapping young man in the Army. Oh, Mr. Murray. To be honest, I don't blame him.
Of information?
Yes, but that's not true. Everybody in the military don't cheat on their spouse, and we don't have a code in the military for cheating. We called each other. He called me because he wanted to make sure I was okay, that I made it home alive. He left.
Here she goes again, trying to reassure her husband. What a woman. It definitely is something that Mr. Murray finds it so hard to believe that his wife is innocent of all these infidelity charges. The fact that she was away from him meeting younger men in the Army is enough to set off his insecurities like a ticking time bomb in his head.
She's sitting on the couch. Yeah, buy me some Jordans, and I'm wearing my Jordans. She's talking to him. Stupid. He's not stupid. And, you know, well, she ain't talking to her mother like that. She ain't talking to her sister like, who are you talking to? And she said his name. And I said, she said, the man called you. I said, well, who's he calling stupid? And she said, you?
Oh my goodness, as she is gifting her husband, she has her male friend on the phone, giggling and everything with him. Okay, Ms. Brown Murray, that one doesn't sound too good. There's no going back now with Mr. Murray. All of her reassurance down the drain. He's simply not having any of it. And at this point, he says she's being flirtatious.
Our families aren't there. Our wives, our husbands aren't there. So whenever we see each other at work, you know, we can find whatever we can do. Country to country, you meet a lot of different people. And one thing, when you meet civilians, they see someone in the uniform, and when you see them in the uniform, you know, they're attracted to it.
Exactly. Money.
And so, Mr. Murray, these are the kinds of...
Oh, Mr. Murray came very prepared, as we can see. He had his doubts and he tabled them readily. Now, Ms. Brown Murray is not moved either. She keeps denying all these accusations and reassures him of doubt. She goes ahead to explain to the court that not everyone in the military is to be accused of infidelity. What an honorable woman.
I have other kids. All my kids is split image of me. She doesn't too much look like. My mother says she's bad like me when I was that age. You know, for me having kids, and my kids look split image of me, and she doesn't.
Boy, are we going deep into their marriage? Like we did not have enough of Mr. Murray's insecurities before. Now he's saying that there is a high possibility that he cannot have children. Here we go again with the resemblance card. Let's keep watching to see what's up with that.
She never was a type of person that had a very big sex appetite. I understood that. It took us a while to have sex. When we did have sex, it was nothing special to brag about. We just had sex. I don't mean it in a rude way. It was just, it is what it is. So she told me,
dynamics of your sexual relationship...
Oops, sorry about that, Mr. Murray. Oh, a senior citizen such as yourself is complaining about not great sex. Isn't that something? After too much information is divulged over and over again to the court, we finally get to hear what we're here for. It's time for the results.
Has been determined by this court that you are her father.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And so now, Ms. Brown Murray, I have to say thank you again for your service.
Miss Livingston is in court to prove that Mr. Livingston is not her baby's father, but her current boyfriend is. Mr. Livingston is here with his baby sister to claim the baby as his own. Apparently, Miss Livingston is denying it because she desperately wants it to be her current boyfriend's baby.
So why is it you believe that the other man is your child's father and not Mr. Livingston?
My daughter, when she was born, she looked a lot like Mr. Livingston. She had dark hair and, you know, she had some of his facial features, but as she got older, she got blonde hair. Neither Mr. Livingston nor I have blonde hair, but Mr. Dorschlag does.
This is going to be one hell of a tussle between all parties involved. Ms. Livingston admits to infidelity, as she admittedly slept with both men during the same period she conceived her 21-month-old baby. What a woman.
I looked at the pregnancy test when she told me it was positive, and I was like,
Was it a happy moment?
It was. I was excited. I've always wanted to be a mother, and I was excited to be a mom.
And then in that moment, did you also think about the other potential father?
No, because at the time, I wasn't thinking that there was a possibility that he could be the father.
Oh, Ms. Livingston, who's going to tell her? It takes just one time to conceive a baby, okay? According to her story, she's currently obsessed with Mr. Livingston. So what exactly went wrong with their marriage, and why did it go wrong?
Messaging Mr. Dorschlag on Facebook, and he told me that he thought that he was the father, but even if he wasn't, that I should leave Mr. Livingston and be with him. Let him be my baby daddy. And Mr. Livingston saw those messages on Facebook, yes. And that was while I was
Facebook app to find out that she was planning on...
My goodness. So she cheated on him, then went on to put it on Facebook? To top it all off, he found out while she was already 6 months pregnant. Finding out that your pregnant wife is cheating on you hits differently because there is a high chance of the baby not being yours.
So you had no idea?
No, Your Honor.
You thinking you're in a marriage that's going well and you have a new baby?
Yes, Your Honor.
We hadn't had the baby yet, Your Honor, and no, I did not say I was going to leave Jason. I married him. He is my child's father. That is what was said in the messages. I never once, at that time, told him that I was going to move to Tennessee with him.
Bouquet Romeo and Juliet, they wanted a relationship, and it would seem like Ms. Livingston forgot that she was already in one. A marriage, in fact. Ms. Livingston still insists that she is in the clear, and she is not a bad person for doing what she did. It's hard to believe at this point, Ms. Livingston.
The reason I filed for the divorce is not so that I could be with Mr. Dorschlag. It's because I got a screenshot of a text message from my family member saying that he had asked for nude photos. From a
family member?
Yeah, from my family member.
Oh.
One that I had previously
is that true,
asked.
Mr. Livingston?
Yes, Your Honor, it is.
Whoa, so Mr. Livingston is definitely the villain in her story. What is the reason why you would ask for a nude picture from your wife's family member? What was this man thinking? Let us find out.
Feelings for each other since day one. That's not going to change, and I told Mr. Livingston that in the beginning. I said, there is one person in my life that will always be in my heart, and that is Jason Dorschlag. And there is nothing you can do to change it.
She just proved her point.
And so you think this is all about her trying to get back with Mr. Dorschlag?
Yes, Your Honor.
You don't have any doubt this child...
To make things even worse, she originally told her husband this. So why did she marry him in the first place? Ms. Livingston, or shall I call her Juliet, should have gone to be with her Romeo right from the very start. Now, her marriage had to suffer because her heart was not in the right place from the very beginning of it all.
Gotten older and her hair is light, and she does have some features of Jason.
Your Honor, every child is born with every DNA color in their body. Their hair can be any color it wants, no matter the parents. She looks just like Michael.
Why do you think that Ms. Livingston is saying unequivocally, Mr. Livingston is not my child's father?
I think because she adamantly wants a relationship with Mr. Dorschlag.
What a smart woman. If we were to go by looks alone, we definitely would not have a paternity court, Ms. Livingston. The major thing that matters here is the DNA of the baby matching with the father's. To think that a woman is the one bringing up the resemblance card today. Of course, Mr. Dorschlag agrees with her as well.
Came to paternity court to find out who my daughter's biological father is, because she has a right to know just like everybody else has a right to know. I don't want Michael raising my daughter if she is not his. If she is Jason's, he has a right to be her father. That is why I am here.
Okay, so hold your horses, Ms. Livingston. That's why we're all here. Nobody's here to figure out why the sky is blue or why the sun rises in the east. We all want to know the paternity of your baby. Without any more long talk, here are the results of the DNA test.
Her biological father is Mr. Livingston.
And I told Mr. Dorschlag I didn't know for sure. I said that sometimes I see similarities, but more I similarities to him, and that's why I'm confused. I don't know where she got her blonde hair from.
I told everybody proven to be mine. I would still step up.
Are you two divorced or still married?
We are divorced.
She cheated on him after just 3 months of marriage. This is the reality of Mr. Powell and his wife, Ms. Burns. Afterwards, like that was not enough, she left Mr. Powell to live with her newfound heartthrob. Now Mr. Powell doubts the paternity of their child.
Okay, then she left you to live with him, and now you say the paternity of your child is in question.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, Ms. Burns, you believe that your boyfriend, Mr. Jones, could be your son's father, but confess you secretly hope he's your ex-husband's biological child.
Yes, Your Honor.
Oh, Miss Burns secretly wishes the baby were Mr. Powell's? Well, dang. You know, if you stayed faithful in your marriage, none of us would be here right now. This woman is a nut job, and this is just the tip of the iceberg, mind you.
How did you get get in this position?
Every time that we would get into an argument, she would leave me and go be with another person. And then if she got upset with that person, she would do the exact same thing, come back to me and sleep with me.
Now, how long did this go on for?
For about a year.
You married her during this time, and you continually take her back.
She behaves like that in a marriage? That is absolutely ridiculous. What an insane woman. He takes her back each time as well because he loves her. Whoa, what a redeeming love. Whoever isn't the father of that child is honestly saved from having to deal with this woman. Let's find out who Judge Lake saves today.
Mr. Powell's had a job and then he'd lose his job. He had a job and then he'd lose his job. I figured everything was put off on me. I have 3 other children other than the baby that I provide for. I felt like all the burden was pushed off onto me.
You don't provide for your children, your mother does.
I do provide for my children. I pay child support.
How do you pay child support if you don't have a job yourself?
Nice comeback, Mr. Powell. So what? She lost feelings for her husband because he had a hard time keeping a job. And with all this, she never even had one herself. This is not the 1600s, Miss Burns. Women earn a living and step up to responsibility.
Let me get down to the bottom of this. You're married to him for 3 months. When do you even meet Mr. Jones?
We have a child together. We have a 6-year-old together. So when the DNA come up for her and he come back father to her, he wanted to meet her because he hadn't seen her pretty much her whole life.
So when you say the DNA came up...
Well, of course she has a child outside her marriage. Frankly, I'd be shocked if she didn't. Now, the crazy part is that he was the 3rd candidate for the DNA testing for that child. Just how many men are there, Ms. Burns? 5, 6, 23? Mr. Powell didn't find out about her affair either. She told him about it. The audacity of this woman.
He did his visit with her and we returned back to my hometown. And I went back to LaPel that night to hang out with Mr. Jones.
For 2 days?
Yes.
She took
A married woman?
all of her things.
You thought it was crazy. Oh, we're just getting started. You can have a seat and put your feet up. At this point, it's hard to believe that Ms. Burns understands the concept of marriage. Let us find out more.
Mr. Powell, what were you thinking?
I didn't know what to think. I called her the second day after she had left, and she straight out admits to me, yeah, I slept with her.
I wasn't very happy. I have 3 other kids, and then we got a DNA test with our 6-year-old, coming out to find out that I'm the father of...
So when Lucas was born, who was at the hospital?
My mother was.
Ah, yes, definitely a nut job, this one. The way she has both men wrapped around her finger is just wild at this point, because how is she still sleeping with her husband in the middle of this conundrum of a situation? It's impossible to state who exactly this woman is with, her husband or Mr. Jones.
Ms. Burns, have you been sleeping with Mr. Powell?
No, Your Honor.
Your Honor, I have proof to show that she is lying right
What
now.
proof do you have?
Your Honor, I took a lie detector test.
You took a lie detector test?
To show you that I'm not lying and that I'm telling the truth. And so that
Do you
Mr.
have the
Jones
results
can know
here?
the truth. Your Honor, I do have the results here.
Ah, yes, Mr. Jones is losing his mind at this point. Spot on, Mr. Powell. He'd have just known that she would try to lie in court, just like she lies and is not straightforward in real life. Looks like Ms. Burns is unsteady now. All the color has drained from her face. What a woman.
The question you were asked was as follows. Are you lying when you said you had sex with Ashley Burns in the last 30 days? You answered no.
That's right.
The lie detector determined you were telling the truth.
Oh boy, oh boy. Look at all the dirty laundry out in the open. They're still having sex? What is the problem with Ms. Burns? It seems like she has no idea what she wants. Please pick a side, Ms. Burns. Pick a bloody side.
Your Honor, I do take care of her other daughter that's not mine, and she calls me daddy and everything like that, Your Honor.
Who do you want to be with? You got half the children calling him daddy, the other half calling him daddy. He loves you. He look like he about through with you. I don't know what you want to do.
She took the words right out of my mouth. This woman should not be with any man right now. After she sorts herself out and resolves all the unsolved childhood neglect within her, only then may she need a man. Finally, the results are out, and we get to see who Judge Lake saves from the grasp of Ms. Burns.
Mr. Jones, you are his father.
Sorry, man, I was rooting for you, bro. I'm still gonna love the kid no matter what. I'm gonna be there. All the information that I just heard today, I just wish it kind of wasn't.
I don't know what to say.
It was a lot to hear today.
Yeah, it was. We actually been talking for more than just 2 months. I mean, I didn't get back with her because I had to test her.
Miss Clifton has 2 men fighting over the paternity of her twins. Mr. Little is here to prove that he is not the father after footing the bills for 4 months before he found out the truth. He kept on messing around with his clients. Maybe next time you should stick to fixing just their cars, Mr. Little. Imagine the shock on Ms. Clifton's face as she started that conversation with a joke. Well, it did blow up in her own face too, because look who wound up pregnant. Oh, Mr. Little looks like he's running a pimping service alongside his car business where the pimp is him and he's also giving himself out for car repairs. What a guy. Collecting sex for car repairs from female clients is a wild, wild thing to do. Ms. Clifton left with her car that day and she left pregnant.
I get a random text from her texting this other guy.
Text set you off. You have proof of this text?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, whoops. That one must have struck a nerve on Mr. Little. Imagine seeing that text after wholly giving yourself to take care of the twins, and to think it was a mistake too. And now we have to find out more. Now that one doesn't sound good, Miss Clifton. How do you expect Mr. Little to walk into your house and see another man around the kids you claim are his without asking you any questions? It's bizarre. Lake takes another mom to school yet again. This woman took everything we were all thinking and lay it down in front of Miss Clifton. She reached out to a man she knew would not let her down on Facebook. Because he's handicapped, she uses that as an excuse to claim that she didn't have sex with him. Jealousy made him stop, huh? Well, I don't exactly blame the guy. He has been doubting the paternity of the kids since day one. If they're not his children, he definitely would not want to be a part of their life, especially since their mother is around so many men so often that we don't even know about yet. Here are the results.
Mr. Little, you are not. Miss Clifton, I have to ask you again, is there any other man?
Like I said, there was a month before me and Mr. Little.
Whoops, what a sick plot twist. Now, who is the father of these beautiful babies? Even her mother was too taken aback. She just kept on clapping, to keep stepping up to the plate. Even Mr. Little is really surprised. He thought they were his.
Chaos erupted between this high school sweetheart. Ms. Walton comes to the courtroom claiming that her 9-year relationship with her high school sweetheart, Mr. Cherry, is on the line. Why? Well, Mr. Cherry says that Ms. Walton cheated on him multiple times and he now doubts the paternity of their 1-year-old child. Here's how the case begins.
Ms. Walton, you say your 9-year relationship with your high school love is in jeopardy because he denies fathering your 1-year-old son, Josiah. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
It seems like there is a lot on the line for this high school couple. They've been together for a long time, and now Mr. Cherry is willing to drop everything if the results show that the child does not belong to him. I wonder how such a beautiful relationship became this. 9 years is a long time.
Mr. Cherry, you really have doubt?
Yes, I do. I do have doubts because throughout our relationship, it's been just straight lies, so...
Not true.
I just want to be here to let her know that everything that's been going on in our relationship is just lies.
After all he just said, I'm sure you can agree with me when I tell you he is willing to walk away from it all. He claims that the 9-year relationship has been very rocky and filled with lies. What could Ms. Walton have done to this man to make him feel so heartbroken?
Hectic between me and her. She decided to want to do what she want to do. I decided to do what I want to do. But, we had set all that to the side and just decided that we're going to do this together.
So you said you did what you wanted to do and she did what she wanted to do. Does that mean you all were dating other people and seeing other people?
Yes. If he cheated, I cheated.
What? If he cheated, she cheated? How do they expect the relationship to work if that's the mentality they both have in the relationship? I mean, if they both agreed to date other people, why are they mad at each other when things went bad? Hilarious is how I would describe this.
At the time, we had our first daughter first, so we was doing the family thing, happy. He started messing around when he don't get attention from me or if I don't do what he wants me to do, because he gets controlling, he gets in his little ego and want to go to a female that backs down.
Once you bring an ex into an ongoing relationship, it can only end one way. When will these guys learn that once you're with someone new, you stay clear of your ex? What's even mind-blowing is that they already have 2 kids. That's just wild.
Josiah's birthday is August 18th of 2015.
Okay.
Add up.
Me and my ex stopped dating a week before Thanksgiving of 2015, which was the 23rd through the 29th. We slept
so the
together
23rd to the 29th, you with
Lies.
Mr. Cherry?
Yes.
I thought I was the only one who was doing the math. It just doesn't add up. She says she stopped messing around with her ex a week before the conception of her child. I'm sorry, but that's just way too close. There's a high chance that the baby could have been conceived way before the week she's talking about.
This is what she told me. She said that a guy that came over that looked something similar like me but had goals in his mouth. And these are the messages that I have. It's 1:55 in the morning. Where you supposed to be at 1:55 in the morning. But I'm at the house with the kids.
So wait, 1:55 a.m., come get me.
This is from her friend's Facebook account.
Oh.
Yes. We aren't going to deny the fact that Mr. Cherry also cheated in their relationship. But come on, leaving the house at 1 a.m. in the morning? Where's she sneaking to? Who's she going to go to see? Crazy fact is that it's not even her ex. So who's the guy with the gold teeth?
Ms. Walton, where's his place?
Probably at his house. And at that time, he was cheating too. So why should I be faithful to somebody that's not faithful neither, Yana?
So you basically admitting that during that time you were having sex with somebody else?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I don't deny. Why lie?
If we're being honest, Ms. Walton doesn't seem to be remorseful about cheating. I mean, look at her facial expression. One would even ask if she really wants to be part of the family. I don't know, men. Something doesn't feel right about the way she's acting, but let's wait for the results.
When you found out you were pregnant, who did you tell?
I told my best friend.
And you told Mr. Cherry?
Yes.
Did you tell the other man?
No.
Because did you ever think to potentially be his child, or you just didn't want him to know?
He cannot be my child's father.
How can you definitively say he is not my child's father?
Oh, please. She can't be serious. What does she mean by she knows in her heart that Mr. Cherry is the father of her child? Lady, that's not how things work. Could the other guy be the father of the child? Who knows? Maybe that's why she did not tell him about the baby.
And so, did you have doubts while you were there?
I didn't have doubts.
his color.
I didn't have doubts at that moment, but as he started getting a little older, his facial features looked like me when he was born, but as he started getting older, and I started seeing this other guy picture of his face, it started resembling him. So that's what I'm doubting for.
Mr. Cherry sure seems to be hurt by the entire situation. It looks like he is a good father. He told the judge that he was there for every single doctor's appointment when Ms. Walton conceived the child. Well, let's see if the DNA results will give him some relief.
Mr. Cherry, you are the father.
Mr. Fuller and his mom are present in court to prove that the defendant, Ms. Nelson, is trying to take his daughter away from him. He says that she told him he was the father of the child, allowed him to build an amazing bond with the child, and for some reason is now saying he is no longer the father of the child. Well, here is how the case begins.
Mr. Fuller, you and your mother are here today to prove that you fathered the defendant's 2-year-old daughter, Milani.
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Nelson, you acknowledge Mr. Fuller's relationship with your daughter, but say you are now certain that he is not your child's father and will prove it in court.
Yes, Your Honor.
Expired? How do you tell a man that he is the father of a child, and then wake up some morning telling the same man a different story? In what world does that even happen? What could her reason be? I'm honestly looking forward to seeing how she intends on proving he isn't the father.
Ms. Nelson, as you recall, how did you let Mr. Fuller know you were pregnant?
I called him, he didn't answer. I saw that he was on Facebook, and then I wrote him on Facebook.
You say you never called his mother?
Never called his mother. I didn't even have his mother's number.
She called my phone and said she was pregnant.
Oh, trust me, Mr. Fuller and his mom are pissed to their bones. They claim to have been there for the child from the moment Ms. Nelson told them she was pregnant till date. What they don't understand is why she's changing her story and saying they were never there for the child.
Ms. Nelson, as much as Ms. Fuller is off the hook right now, why is it you believe he's not the father?
From day one, I never believed that he was the father, Your Honor.
You told me out your mouth.
I never believed that he was the father.
What is with all the yelling? They can't even get a statement out in the courtroom without wanting to rip each other's throats out. But can you really blame Mr. Fuller's mother for getting upset? The woman loves that baby so much. Why is Ms. Nelson changing her mind?
My baby was about 5 or 6 months old. I was at work. I was with someone, in a relationship with someone.
So now at 5 months old, when the child's 5 months old, you're in a new relationship?
No, I was in a relationship before him.
Oh, before Mr. Fuller.
Me and the other guy was just on a break. So you
slept with Mr. Fuller when you were on a break from another guy.
Is she for real right now? Is that even possible? How do they come behind your back and they build such a unique bond with the child and she knows nothing about it? What's even mind-blowing is the fact that she says she was in a relationship when she slept with Mr. Fuller.
These are text messages.
Yeah.
So from Miss Nelson, I see a message that says, "We made a beautiful little angel. I love you." Then Mr. Fuller says, "I know, BM, baby. Our baby, very beautiful. Thank you." That must be thank you, BM for Milani. BM is
Gay mama and baby daddy.
Thank you, Judge Lauren. Thank you. For a second there, I thought I was not seeing clearly. She's literally calling him her baby daddy, saying they made a beautiful baby together. If she claims he is her baby daddy, why then is she acting like she never told him he was the father?
Do you believe Mr. Fuller is Milani's biological father?
Yes.
You do?
Yes.
Why do you believe your daughter cannot even believe it's a possibility that he's her biological father? What do you think this is about?
The other guy.
The other guy.
When her and the other guy gets mad, it's...
Ha ha ha. The cat is out of the bag now. Even her mom isn't on her side. Ms. Nelson's mother tells the courtroom that anytime she fights with the other guy, the baby becomes Mr. Filler's baby. When she's on bad terms with Mr. Filler, it becomes the other guy's baby. Pathetic.
I mean, they are over there crying.
She wanted a relationship with my child. I was not even gonna let her be a part. She was like, "I don't care if this is not my grandbaby. I want a relationship with this child." She knew there was a possibility of someone else.
So wait. Your position was, I really from the get-go did not want them to have a relationship.
Right.
And here we go again with the yelling. I don't man. It's really hard to believe Ms. Filler and her son built a relationship with Ms. Nelson's child, and she had no idea it was going on. I mean, it's her child for crying out loud. Or does she want the other guy to be the father?
You have him listed as baby daddy Devontae. So this begs the question, if you never, ever thought he was the father, why do you have him listed as baby daddy Devontae in your phone?
That's just a term that we use, and he knows we use that term.
I think we've heard just about enough of this drama. How do you call him your baby daddy and he isn't the father of the baby? Yeah, like that's normal. Oh well, the results are locked in and ready. Let's get to the bottom of this, shall we?
Mr. Fuller, you are not her father.
I knew it. I knew I slept with. I knew it.
Take this baby from us.
According to Ms. Jackson, only a fool would believe
that you fathered the defendant's 6-month-old daughter, Majestic. You say your evidence will shock this courtroom. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Cole, you and your mother say you're 100% certain that Mr. Webb is your child's biological father.
If he never had sex with her, what's he doing in the courtroom? Like Judge Lauren said, they would rule him out of the equation. Could Ms. Cole and her mom be trying to pin the baby on him?
Mr. Webb, this is strange. What was the nature of your relationship?
We never had sex or anything. We were just friends. We would chill out. That was it.
You were never intimate with her in any way?
I never stayed in her bedroom. I stayed out on the couch.
That's a lie.
And on top of that, I was only there for a week and a week and a half.
That's not true.
This has got to be the strangest thing I have ever heard in this courtroom. Mr. Webb sticks to his story and says that he has never slept with Ms. Cole and she's being absolutely crazy for saying they were ever intimate. What's going on?
Ms. Cole, you said you and your husband were taking care of Mr. Webb?
Yes, and my grandkids and anybody else that needed.
Now
You're
you're
a
saying
liar.
she was on the phone with me 5-6 times a day.
Why was Mr. Webb living with you?
He's a punk bum. We supplied everything for them.
There's about to be a war in this courtroom. One thing is for sure, Ms. Cole's mom does not like Mr. Webb at all. She claimed that he was living with her and her husband and they supplied everything they needed. His girlfriend, however, comes to his rescue, saying that he's not that kind of person.
I don't do that type of stuff.
I've known him for 7 years, and he is not like that at all. And you called me with his friend telling me that he was there for 3 weeks and you guys were having sex and blah, blah, blah. At first, I did believe that. But then I heard his story, and none of it. Shut up, I am talking.
Hold on, let's be respectful.
I'll tell you what, the entire case doesn't make any sense if we're being honest. Everybody has a different story they are telling in the courtroom. It's honestly hard to believe anyone at this point.
She had sent me an ultrasound saying that's a 3D photo. Tell me she don't look like you. Do I look like an ultrasound? Well, I got on Google because I don't know much about baby stuff. So I'm thinking, is that a thing now? So I said, Tasha, you're crazy. We didn't blank. I'm not the father to your baby. Please leave me alone.
Oh, We are with you on that one, Judge Lauren. Oh my goodness, how do you compare an actual human being to a 3D ultrasound? I mean, is she crazy? Some part of me honestly feels like she's just trying to pin the baby on Mr. Webb for real.
She made herself believe these lies that she's telling.
But Mr. Webb says he never slept with you.
And he did.
But he did.
For sure, yeah. It was a lousy, like, 20 minutes. I'm so sorry, Your Honor.
And there we go again, with the stories not adding up. First, he said they were having a sleepover, and now they were partying for a week and a half. When does the truth start to come out? I still can't believe she said it was a lousy 20 minutes.
Specifics that you can share that would prove your case.
I can tell you how big his winker is. It's pretty small.
No, it's not. I could tell you plenty of times.
It's about
I've known him for 7 years.
It's about that big.
Not. Definitely not. And don't you dare tell him about his penis.
There is just no filter with this lady, is there? First she says their sexual experience lasted for only 20 minutes, and now she's saying this? Nah, I'm starting to think she wants to pin the baby on Mr. Webb just to ruin his relationship.
Lends credibility to your earlier testimony, Ms. Cole, where you said it's either you or another gentleman. Now, on the monitor, there's a split screen.
Look at the nose.
Of Mr. Webb and Majestic.
She needs glasses too.
Definitely.
So. You believe there's a resemblance?
Oh, yeah, for sure, yeah.
Ain't no way these two had a sexual relationship. They're basically talking like they hate each other. Oh well, we've just about seen enough of this drama. I think it's time we see what the results have to say about all of this.
Mr. Webb, you are not her father.
Oh! Yeah, you're crazy. You need to go to a mental hospital.
Ms. Webb.
There, get her there, get her there.
Mr. Webb, Ms. Reams.
Apparently, this is another case of a lady going to war with a mother and her son. Ms. Souses appears in court claiming that the defendant, Mr. Payne, is denying their child because Mr. Payne's mother has a chokehold on him and won't allow him to think for himself. She said the DNA results will reveal the truth. It begins like this.
Ms. Souses, you have dragged the defendant into court today because you say it's his mother's fault he's denying your 10-month-old daughter, Aleliana. You claim when the DNA results prove he is the father, you want the defendant's name added to her birth certificate. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Once teenagers start to engage in adult activities, you can almost expect the end result to always be messy. Even Judge Lauren was not surprised when she found out their age. At least they both admit to having slept with each other. Now, what's causing the doubts?
We started talking. She went to the movies with some other guy. She loved him, this, and that.
But the next day you did something with another girl and you was just telling your ex you loved her, so what's the difference?
You lying.
So, Ms. Souses, you did contact your ex?
Yeah, I said I care for him. I never said I loved him. He told his ex he loved her, and I did go to the movies with a boy, okay?
Haha, you care for your ex and you love your ex. Is there really much of a difference? They sure sound like the same thing to me. Oh well, Ms. Souses admits that she did go out with another guy to the movies, and in her opinion, it's not a big deal. As you'd expect, Mr. Payne says that's all a lie.
How soon after you got back together did...
2 weeks.
It seemed like right away. It seemed like that's the only reason why I questioned it. The first time she got pregnant, I knew without a doubt it was his, because this time they kept breaking up. They break up so much, and they were broken up. I think y'all were broken up for about a month or something like that. They got back together, and she got pregnant.
Yes, we had sex, and then like a month later, I was pregnant for that month.
Is this case really between Mr. Payne and Ms. Souses, or between Ms. Souses and Mr. Payne's mom? It sure seems like the latter. Mr. Payne's mom says that she got pregnant way too fast, and the timeline just doesn't add up, given the fact that they initially broke up.
Take your time.
I've been doing this for so long by myself. It's like, I'm just fed up.
She didn't have to be alone. She chose to. That was on her.
Who was there for me?
Why did you choose to do this by yourself?
Because I've been independent for so long, for so many years by myself. I was used to it, so it was like...
Did you want him to be there and help you?
Yes, I did.
They might be teenagers, but let's hand it to Ms. Souses. Keeping the arguments and fights away from her child was a pretty smart decision. But then again, that also meant that Mr. Payne would be away from the child. A smart and not so smart decision if you ask me.
If I ask you if you need help and you want me to be there and you tell me no, what more can I do?
All right, but when I asked you...
When you just asked, what did I do?
What did you do?
What did I do?
What did you do?
You said you needed a stroller. You ain't even put the stroller up.
Okay.
So now we're fighting over the color of the stroller?
Right.
Yeah.
This is problematic. This really is Sad.
Now I see why Ms. Seuss's kept the baby away from Mr. Payne. They are literally about to go head-to-head over the color of the baby stroller. Like, come on, guys. The baby deserves better than this. They should know better.
I want to understand specifically, what are your doubts?
It's just because of the beginning. Like, we was both doing us before we got back together. I know how she moved. She knew how
So
I
you
moved.
were broken up or on a break,
And then we got back
she was
together.
dating other people.
I know we was both.
Do you know or have proof that she actually had sex with someone else?
Seeing her at the party with another dude doesn't mean she slept with him. I mean, do we need to spell that out for him? Ridiculous. Anyway, being apart and messing around with other people will definitely create some room for doubt, especially when they fight about everything.
Is there anything in your past that would warrant them spreading these rumors about you? There is. Okay, so that's what we're here to do, is tell the truth.
Yep.
But then when you met Mr. Payne, those things changed?
Yes.
And so when people speak negatively about you, that's what they're probably referring to.
Is my past.
Now it makes sense. Mr. Payne's mom tells the judge that people would always walk up to her and tell her that Ms. Seuss's messes with other dudes. Ms. Seuss's admitting to having a shady past just connects the dots.
Don't sign it if you have any doubts. Get the DNA test first, like y'all doing now.
And I had a doubt, and it's sad that it took 10 months.
It's sad, yes.
For it to happen, but at least it can happen today. And if it is my child, I'm gonna step up all the way.
Good.
All the way.
100%. You don't gotta say good, because I know what I'm gonna do.
All the way.
At least he wants to step up to his role as a father. Of course, that's dependent on whether he is the father of the child. Well, let the DNA results reveal the truth. Let's see if Ms. Seuss's has been truthful this whole time.
Mr. Payne, you are the father.
Thank you.
I'm happy. Now I'm happy. Now I can be happy.
This is Ms. Austin's third time on paternity court. She's no stranger to proving her children's paternity to Wallace, who once again has doubts that her 9-month-old son is his. Mind you, she's pregnant with a third child by him, and she and Mr. Wallace aren't even together. It's a crazy case, and here is how it begins.
Everything started out okay, but we all knew that wasn't gonna last long. Roniel Wallace was still bouncing back from me and Kendrelyn. I had enrolled in school, but I never did go because I had got pregnant once again with Roniel. And she got pregnant with her baby, with her son. And as you can see now, once again, I'm pregnant again.
Seems like these three are in a polyamorous relationship and don't even know it. 2 women taking turns getting pregnant for one man is just so silly. And every single time this happens, Mr. Wallace doubts he is responsible for the pregnancies. Why then is he messing around with women he doesn't trust?
I had installed, it was like spyware on her phone. It's what, they would duplicate her text messages and call log and send a copy to my email. For about the 5th, 6th time, I called her texting different men.
Well, where your proof at? I never saw it.
And you believe she's sleeping with these men?
Yes.
Didn't see that one coming. If he truly believes she's promiscuous, why does he keep having children with her? 1 child wasn't enough, so you had a second, and now there's a third on the way. Yet you call her a slut, the same woman who might soon be the mother of 3 of your kids?
If I'm dead, so why you keep on sleeping with me? Why? 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 I'm pregnant again. Why? You say that about her, yeah.
So
Why
now,
do you keep allowing me to sleep
I'm
with
gonna
you?
keep on just because I know that you with her. She's
So,
allowed.
I don't have nothing to do with that.
Yes,
If
you
you
do.
can sleep with somebody else,
Yes,
man,
you
then
do.
you got low self-esteem.
Ladies.
I know you were
Okay, this is serious. Ms. Austin's question is very valid. Why did he keep sleeping with her if she thought she was promiscuous? And why on earth is his girlfriend, Ms. Roberts, so mad? Was she really going to hit her in front of a judge?
at the end of the day, you all can see now that 2 wrongs never make a right. They make more wrong.
That's right.
Right? Because you were wrong for going back and forth between the 2 women, and then you were wrong for being pregnant and talking to other men and expecting him to then believe your child is his child automatically.
Cheating on your partner is no payback for their infidelity. It will cost you 2 at the end of the day, as we can see with Ms. Austin and Mr. Wallace. 3 potential babies together, yet they don't see eye to eye. What a terrible situation.
They have the same chin.
Let me see that. Is that evidence you'd like to present?
Yes.
Okay. The first piece is
A chin. You see that chin? Look at their feet.
So you say their feet are alike?
Yeah.
But they don't change your mind?
No, ma'am. It's just like you go to a police lineup. They put you in there with 6 other men who look just like you.
Really? His feet and chin? Those are the features you chose to compare? It's valid, but kind of funny. At the end of the day, though, as Mr. Wallace said, it's not really about the looks, is it?
Your Honor, I do everything for him. I stood by his side when he had his apartment. He went through a lot. And I was there by his side, never left. And I could have every day he leaves me. Like, what more could I do?
That's because you always have other men.
No.
You can't but feel pity for Ms. Austin. She loves this man, yet he keeps treating her like trash and walking away every time. This information and the fact that they have been here 3 times show how irresponsible the man is. It is such a shame.
Okay, go ahead.
But he left my house. He leaves my house and goes spends the night out at Kendrick's house. And that's where his stuff been at ever since. He just came back to my house not too long ago like 3 days ago because him and Kendrick had a fight.
These women are at fault too, letting Mr. Wallace waltz in and out of their lives whenever he pleases. If none of them stands up to put an end to this mess, they might just find themselves on paternity court for a 4th time.
And Mr. Wallace, what are you hoping for today?
I'm just, agitated. Well, I need to walk out.
Let's sit here and finish it. Come on.
Roniel, don't walk out again. Get your composure. Get composure.
I knocked that gun
Stop
out
it.
your head.
Whoa, that explosion was unexpected. Mr. Wallace insists Ms. Austin is putting on a show and Judge Lauren is falling for it. He's angry because the judge is taking her side. This is a whole new level of reaction.
I'm not going to let you leave here thinking I'm taking anybody's side. I'm asking the questions that need to be asked. Now, we're going to get you these results because you came here because you wanted to know, right?
Yes.
Are you Ronell's father?
Great. Let's find out what the DNA results say and put an end to this drama.
Mr. Wallace, you are Ronell's father. Sitting up trying to pin a baby on a man. Hold on, I'm talking now. Since all you can do is shrug your shoulders, stay silent. Because you were so dramatic about how Mr. Toozy had never done anything. Oh, and you cried, hold on, you cried yourself a river in this courtroom, baby. Ms. Hatcher, do you remember whether or not you two used protection when you?
Yes, I do. Well, first time we did use protection, and then the second time we didn't.
Your Honor, it wasn't no second time.
We had sex twice.
I only remember one time. I know I won that drunk, Your Honor.
The case of Hatcher Scott Blake had everyone losing their own minds, and even the otherwise always proper Judge Lauren lost it on the bench while trying to oversee this case. What might have caused her to lose her cool? Everybody knows Judge Lauren was usually the very picture of composure.
Ms. Hatcher, you confessed that at the time you conceived your 2-year-old son, Josiah, you had sexual relations with 3 men.
Interestingly, Ms. Hatcher agreed that at the time she had her toddler, she engaged in sexual relations with 3 different men, but notwithstanding, she wanted her son to know who his father was since she herself had no idea who it could be. This was why she was in paternity court to get answers. Mr. Scott, one of the might-be dads, was not here for this information, as he insisted that Ms. Hatcher had given him the impression that she was the only one for him, and the only one she was with at the time. Just maybe, Mr. Blake didn't even believe he was the father, and Mr. Sneed didn't even know he could possibly be the child's dad till he turned 2.
Now, you don't want your son to suffer for your mistakes, so you've requested paternity testing on all 3 men.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, now, Mr. Scott, you claim Ms. Hatcher led you to believe you were the only potential father of this child until she told you in anger that she needed a DNA test.
Yes, Your Honor, that is true.
Judge Lauren asks her to explain to the court how exactly she got herself in this situation. And Ms. Hatcher states the obvious being that she slept with all 3 men at the time her son was conceived. Mr. Scott goes on to deny Ms. Hatcher claims of being in a fling ship. She was also in almost a decade-long relationship with Mr. Sneed and had also been in a one-night stand at the same time. Clearly, Ms. Hatcher was quite bored.
He wasn't even aware of the possibility until Ms. Hatcher's son was almost 2 years old. So, Ms. Hatcher, please explain to the court how you got yourself in this situation.
Yes, Your Honor. At the time, I had sex with 3 different men around the same time my son conceived. I did have a 5.5-month fling with Mr. Scott, and I also had...
No, Your Honor, that is not true.
Judge Lauren goes on to present a color-coded chart showing the time time of conception and the might-be baby daddy's color coded for easy understanding of the chart. Pretty good work to navigate understanding Ms. Hatcher Bedfellows.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
As we see here on the calendar, the yellow represents you, Mr. Scott. For Mr. Blake, that's represented in the blue. We're looking at the window of conception.
Okay.
Mr. Sneed is in green, and then outlined in red, as you can see.
After agreeing that she had slept with her ex, Mr. Sneed, on a certain day while unprotected, Mr. Scott inserts a very nasty question suggesting that the encounter might have been for pay. But Judge Lauren immediately shuts it down by issuing a stern reminder to remain mindful of his behavior. In her courtroom,
We have Mr. Sneed, your ex. You say you had sex with him on the 23rd of December.
Yes, Your Honor. One time.
Did you use protection?
No, we did not.
How much did he pay?
Ms. Hatcher testifies on Mr. Scott's character as she reports him for lack of certain virtues, and how he treats herself and her son with the same kind of behavior he just exhibited. She goes on to say that despite knowing that they have certain home appliances that don't work, he still has a nasty attitude. The judge points out that she had just admitted to having a 5-month-old fling with the very same man she was just complaining about, the same man who had just implied she was a prostitute few minutes ago. Ms. Hatcher says that's why she was no longer with him, but the judge says 5 months was too long and she was just keeping it real with her.
This is him. He is a disrespectful man. He is very ignorant. He's all that to me and my son. Just recently, he knows that we don't have a working refrigerator and a stove. And he comes over to my house and he still has the same attitude, nasty attitude that he has now.
The court wanted to understand from Mr. Scott's perspective the reason for his doubts on his possible paternity of Ms. Hatcher's child. He says it because Ms. Hatcher had told herself by word of mouth. He had believed her when she told him she was pregnant because she knew her body better as a woman, and he was even the hospital with her when the baby was born and even signed the birth certificate. He laments to the judge on how much time, money, and emotional resources he has invested in Ms. Hatcher's child, including giving him his last name and letting him visit his house. At this point, Ms. Hatcher chimes in that this isn't the case, but Mr. Scott says that this was the case previously, and he stopped ever since he found out she wasn't straightforward about the child's paternity.
Now, Mr. Scott, I want to understand from your perspective why you are doubtful.
Okay, I'm doubtful because she said out of her own mouth, DNA test. I didn't know nothing about her situation. When she came and told me she was pregnant.
The judge asks when he began to think he may not be the child's father, and he points out that they recently had to go to court, and she had stated that they needed to get a DNA test done because she was scared of losing custody of the child. That statement had set off alarm bells, and clearly for good reason. Ms. Hatcher, however, denies this while interrupting the examination as she says things didn't play out like that, and she actually mixed up her conception dates. So that is why she had originally believed Mr. Scott as the father of the child.
My last name, Your Honor, and it could be not supposed to be there. It's supposed to be, might be his, might be Mr. Sneed. It is not fair to him.
So you're listed here as father.
Yes, ma'am.
At what point did you begin to doubt whether or not you were Josiah's biological father?
Had a situation where we had to go to court. She said in open court.
Ms. Hatcher says when she found out her conception dates were mixed up, she told Mr. Scott the child may not be his. Mr. Scott didn't take it well, and so he came down to the hospital to thoroughly inspect the child's body before he signed the birth certificate. He came later to Ms. Hatcher's house to say that his new girlfriend believed the child may not be his. Mr. Scott admits that Ms. Hatcher was the second lady that had brought claims of paternity to his table, and it had turned out false, hence his disbelief. The judge agrees with that sentiment.
Like a woman, and I said, you know what, Josiah might not be yours.
Why didn't you just win?
Josiah might not,
when?
Josiah might not be yours.
When did you do that?
And he was like, oh, I could have figured that because Josiah, the way Josiah was looking. And he came to the hospital, he looked at Josiah up and down. I'm talking about, he was checking Josiah's ears, he was checking Josiah's legs, his feet.
Your Honor.
He searched Josiah from head to toe before he signed that birth certificate, Your Honor.
Judge Lauren asks if Mr. Blake, if he remembers sleeping with Ms. Hatcher the day after Christmas. He agrees by saying that they got a hotel room that night and that he didn't have a problem caring for what's his if the child turned out that way. Since they weren't exactly sober, he couldn't remember if they protected themselves during the escapade. Ms. Hatcher, however, clearly was not intoxicated enough as she remembered that they had been unprotected at some point during their sneaky links. She, in fact, emphasizes that they had done it more than once.
All these men are doubtful. Mr. Blake.
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you sleep with Miss Hatcher on the 26th of December? That's the day after Christmas. You should remember that.
We got a hotel room that night. Possibility it could be mine. If it's mine, I don't have a problem with taking care of mine.
Was it protect sex on that day?
We had a little alcohol, but I think so, Your Honor.
All right. So, Miss Hatcher, do you remember whether or not you two used protection when you...
Yes, I do.
Mr. Blake definitely had his own very strange reason for thinking the child couldn't possibly be his, as he felt one night wasn't enough to make a child. Ms. Hatcher counters that line of thought by saying he had told her differently in the past. Mr. Blake goes on to assure the court that he's not going to be a deadbeat dad if the child turned out to be his. Ms. Hatcher believes he could be the kid's father simply because of the way her son is built. Mr. Blake claps back at her by asking how many people she has to test before she finds out. And at this point, Judge Lauren starts to hit her gavel continuously because her patience is being stretched.
I know I won that drunk, Your Honor.
Now, why are you doubtful?
It was a one-night stand.
So you feel like just because it was a one-night stand, your odds
are very slim.
And he also told me that he made his first child off a one-night stand.
I was about to say, it's plenty of people
That's
in
what
this
he
world.
told me.
Yeah,
He said
I
it possibly
understand that,
can
but
be.
Your Honor, if the child's mine, I don't have a problem with taking care of mine.
Ms. Hatcher tells the court that she believes Mr. Sneed may be her baby's father because he has flat feet just like her son's. She goes on to say she does not want him as her baby daddy because he's a 43-year-old who is homeless and refuses to work. Judge Lauren has to remind her that she slept with the 43-year-old in question unprotected. Ms. Hatcher and Mr. Sneed get into a very heated conversation as he feels quite slighted by Ms. Hatcher's comments on his parenting abilities. He shuts down Ms. Hatcher's doubts on his financial capacity to parent.
So you also say you have good reason to believe that Mr. Sneed is the father. You see similarities there.
Yes, I do. In his feet.
Explain.
In his feet, he has flat feet like Mr. Sneed.
I thought he had the flat feet.
I know how this may look. The only thing I'm trying to do is just try to find out who my baby father is. Because I know that it's hard.
A very visibly offended Judge Lauren tells the bickering parties in a very loud voice to continue with their arguments after trying to call them to order without success. She tells them to continue, and she'll focus on her own case as whatever issues they're trying to sort out is clearly irrelevant to the case on her table. Judge Lauren continues to hit her gavel to call order in court and scolds the parties angrily.
She made some mistakes, and she needs to own up to them because I'm the victim.
That's
I'm the
why
one.
I'm here.
No, you're
This
not. You're here bashing the man. You've done it to me.
I don't do it.
You've done it to me.
I don't do nothing.
You've done it to me.
Stop coming to my house.
I'm the one who signed the birth certificate that might not be mine that two other dudes you slept with. Be honest with me.
Guys, calm down, please.
Truth be told, when this man stepped up and signed the birth certificate, then really that should have been, that's it.
Judge Lauren is clearly done with the parties of this case, as there's so much attitude from the parties, especially Ms. Hatcher. After confirming the paternity of the child, Judge Lauren went off on the parents, and it wasn't the slightest bit nice as she is in full ballistic mode. The parties definitely were aggravating as they kept making terrible decisions concerning their kids.
Mr. Scott, you are the father.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome. You happy?
Thank you. That means he has my name and I don't have to change it.
Right.
Thank you.
You
now
lost
he can
a
meet
year
his
with
brothers.
him in
Now
doubt.
he can meet his brothers and sisters.
Listen, now you two have to help Josiah. You have to help one another and help this child.
Ms. Thorpe and Mr. Harris were in Judge Lauren's court to determine the paternity of Ms. Thorpe twin children. It was only 2 minutes into the court proceedings, and Judge Lauren was not having it with the adult parties of the case. Let's see why.
You say Mr. Morris's efforts to go behind your back blew up in his face, and you intend to clean up his mess today.
He posted all over social media and told everybody that the DNA test came back and that the kids were not his.
Did you also post, Mr. Morris, that you didn't do the test properly?
No.
To thicken the plot, Judge Lauren questions Ms. Thorpe on why she's not certain of who her child's baby daddy is, and she lets her know there's someone else in the picture, and she clearly had a feeling that Mr. Morris wasn't her baby daddy. This reply had the judge quite stressed out, as it was quite silly and ignorant to say the least. Feelings were not enough to establish or dispute the paternity of a baby, was it?
Hi, Miss Thorpe. Would you look at these two girls and you say you know for certain Mr. Morris is their biological father? Why would you tell them no?
Because we wasn't for sure at the time. I didn't want
So
to
you
tell
aren't
anyone's
sure?
father.
You aren't sure?
I mean, at the time, I didn't feel like I was sure, so I didn't want to have them call. And then he wasn't even around.
So wait a minute, who else could be their dad?
At the end of the day, Judge Lauren examines Ms. Thorpe, or rather confronts her on if she's certain of who her kid's father might be. And when she starts to stutter while attempting to craft what was no doubt a very long reply, the judge presses for a simple yes or no answer. She clearly doesn't know, and this sets Judge Lauren on a whole new rant on why they were both being very silly. Pan to the scene.
Do you know for certain if Mr. Morris is your twin's biological father? Yes or no? Do you know for certain?
No, Your Honor.
There. You all just been circling around this doubt, circling around this dysfunction, circling around all of this confusion. Trying to raise these babies? What's that little game you play when you little? What's that one where the music play and you just be running around? Musical chairs.
Musical chairs.
Ms. Lopez and Mr. Cabajal were not doing Judge Lauren's nerves any good as they kept working her nerves that in court. Ms. Lopez was accusing the defendant of executing a DNA scam because he was trying to deny her kid's paternity. Ms. Lopez was tired of taking care of the kids by herself and was in court to prove Mr. Carbajal was in fact her baby daddy. On the other hand, Mr. Carbajal was not keen on Ms. Lopez's antics, as he definitely was insisting that she was lying about the paternity of the kids, and he was tired of taking care of them as it was ruining him.
Day because you claim the defendant, Mr. Carbajal, allegedly perpetuated a DNA testing scam to try to deny paternity of your kids. You say you're tired of struggling daily to take care of your children alone, and you need to prove he's their biological father.
What came as a shocker was that Mr. Carbajal's big reason for thinking the kid wasn't his was because he had been born with a cleft on his lip, and nobody in his family had been born with the defect before in his family. And also because Ms. Lopez had sent him a picture of another man holding his baby. But Ms. Lopez says she only did that to get back at him, because he wasn't acting as a responsible father. Mr. Carbajal's sister had some very strong rebuttal for Ms. Lopez's assertions, and Judge Lauren wanted to hear it. Ms. Lopez also insisted continually that she hadn't slept with anybody else except Mr. Carbajal during her conception period.
You have an issue regarding the fact that he has a cleft lip. You say no one in your family's ever been born with that. So you believe it's not yours?
Your Honor.
She also sent me a picture of a man holding my baby.
Wait.
That was to get
Your
back
Honor.
at you
Why would
because
she
you're
send that?
not responsible.
In a very shocking twist that stunned everyone, the DNA results were out, and it turned out that Ms. Lopez had been lying to the whole court. Judge Lauren sets off on her calling out her bad behavior, and she starts crying. But this makes Judge Lauren angrier, as she believed Ms. Lopez had no reason to cry after making everyone so miserable because of her deceit. Judge Lauren does not hold back on calling her a liar and shuts Mr. Carbajal up when he tries to interrupt her speech. She definitely had time for everybody.
Were you intimate with anyone else?
No, Your Honor. I was not.
Mr. Carbajal, do you believe you were the only man she was having sex with?
I don't know that. See, I don't know if she would sleep with me. I had sex the first night I seen her. She could have done with the same thing with any other guy because we met off a social network.
So, Ms. Lopez, what do you have to say to that?
She would have had to get pregnant in November.
Anybody else.
In November.
Ms. Renfrew was in court claiming that Mr. Tuzzi was her baby's father, and she was 100% certain that this was the case. She strongly believed this because her 6-month-old son had a genetic condition which could only have been passed down by Mr. Tuzzi.
Ms. Renfrew, you claim you are 100% certain that the defendant is the father of your 6-month-old son, Kendall. You say Kendall was born with a serious medical condition and believe it was genetically passed down by the defendant.
Mr. Tuzzi, however, was certain he was not the baby's father, even though Ms. Renfrew had said she had not slept with anyone else during her time of conception, and had also stated that she didn't just sleep with anyone randomly and especially unprotected. Mr. Tuzzi informs the court that Ms. Renfrew had someone else sign the birth certificate, to which Ms. Renfrew asserts, and gives her reasons for letting her ex sign someone else's kid birth certificate. Judge Lauren clarifies if her ex could potentially be her child's father, and she says no.
Tuzzi, you are certain you are not her child's biological father and say the truth will be revealed today. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Were you intimate with anybody else during the window of time when Kendall was conceived?
No, Your Honor.
Are you sure of that?
Yes, I'm 100% sure. I know who my kids belong to. I don't just lay down with everybody. I don't sleep with everybody unprotected. And when I do have sex with
Then
people...
why would you have another guy signing the birth certificate?
In a shocking or not so surprising turn of events, Ms. Renfrew had been lying about who her baby daddy might be and what had really happened during her period of conception, and Ms. Renfrew's lies, shamelessness, and smart mouth had gotten on Judge Lauren's nerves, and she let her have it.
Mr. Toozy, you are not the father.
Yes!
Oops.
Told you!
Ms. Renfrew?
Yes, ma'am.
That's not your child's biological father.
That's fine. That is fine. I'm okay with that.
Do you know who is?
Yes, ma'am.
Look, little smart mouth. No, hold on. Because you done got on my nerves now. Because you got a smart mouth, but you're not smart enough to know when you're lying. Sitting up trying to pin a baby on a man. Hold on, I'm talking now.
The case of Sissom v. Riley and Taylor had triggered Judge Lauren so badly that she didn't offer them the opportunity to take advantage of the court's counseling services by the end of the proceedings. This was a very annoying case for everyone, and the usually composed Judge Lauren was no exception to the clause of this case.
For me is a case of babies having babies, teenagers. This is upsetting. With that said, Miss Sissom, you and your teenage daughter, Destiny, are here to prove that Anthony Taylor is the father of your daughter's 8-month-old son, Osiris. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
The facts of the case already had Judge Lauren ticked off because it was about strangers having babies, which meant that the teens didn't even have the authority to consent on being parents in a legal sense, and so the parents of the teenagers were in court with their kids to contest the custody of the child their teenagers had. This case was clearly a headache from the start. Ms. Sissom was in court to prove that Anthony Taylor was the father of her daughter's child, and Anthony's mom was insisting otherwise because of a previous DNA test she had run.
Ms. Riley, you stand before me claiming that you are 100% positive your son is not the child's father and have insisted on a DNA test from the moment you heard Ms. Sissom was pregnant. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
So, Ms. Sissom, how certain are you that Anthony is the father?
I'm 2,000% certain, Your Honor, that Anthony is the father of Osiris.
So apparently, Destiny, who is the mother of the child, also believed Anthony was her baby's father. Judge Lauren asks her if she understood the repercussions of her decision to carry the baby, and she answers in the affirmative. She, however, says that her mother didn't know that she had become sexually active. Ms. Sissom explains that her daughter had told her she was visiting a friend, and she believed her. Anthony's mom calls Destiny some choice words while saying that she lied about coming to her house to visit her daughter. Ms. Sissom defends her child by asking why Anthony's mom didn't realize both kids were having sex at her house. It becomes a very intense argument. Judge Lauren steps in.
Anthony is this child's father?
Yes, Your Honor.
You've changed the course of your life by having this baby.
Yes, Your Honor.
Did your mother know you were having sex?
No, Your Honor. When I would call Destiny on her cell phone, she'll say she's at her friend's house. So that's what I was believing.
She was sneaking at my house. She was coming over here lying, conniving, saying, I have a 14-year-old daughter at home. She was sneaking over there, hollering about she was coming over there to see my daughter.
In an interesting turn of events, Anthony's mom says that she has seen Destiny walking with another guy at some point, and so it never crossed her mind that Destiny and Anthony were actively having sex with each other. Ms. Sissom emphasizes on the fact that she's been the only one taking care of the baby and would like to get to the truth, just as she and Anthony's mom break into another argument. Judge Lawrence is visibly annoyed as she tries to call them to order for the umpteenth time.
I see her walking with another guy. My son at school, this is before Destiny said anything about you was pregnant. Next thing you know, I find out that my son come telling me that she told him that she pregnant. How is that? You just came around 2 weeks ago? And he was messing with another girl at the time.
You saw Destiny walking with somebody else?
Yes, another guy.
Judge Lauren calls out the parents even further by pointing out that Destiny shouldn't have been sleeping out at a friend's house in which the mom had no knowledge of. And even more shocking is that Destiny was sleeping over in Anthony's bed overnight while his mom was in the house. Interestingly, Anthony's mom knew they were both sexually active and had given Destiny condoms to use.
You're saying, Miss Sissom, your daughter had big dreams for her life. Dreams to do what?
My daughter is a senior this year. She was going to college to be a pediatrician and a lawyer.
Destiny narrates the time she found out she was pregnant And apparently the person she had gone to meet was Anthony's parents. Anthony himself didn't want a baby either, but changes his mind, and the reason is soul-crushing and disappointing. Destiny's mom didn't take the news well and had to be hospitalized. Apparently, the kids had set up a system organized to fool the parents, particularly Destiny's mom, into thinking they were both going to their friends' houses, but seeing each other without interference from their parents.
Let's get to the part where you find out you're pregnant. How do you find out?
I had my period. I ended up throwing up. Anthony said, you should go to the hospital because I think you're pregnant. I went and they said I was pregnant. When I found out, I went to her house. And when I walked through the door and I had my papers, she said, let me guess, you're pregnant. I said, yes. So she called her husband and said, well, Destiny's pregnant, but we don't know if it's Anthony's baby or not.
Judge Lauren asks if Anthony was present during the whole birthing process, and Destiny answers, Anthony had also cut the baby's cord, and Ms. Sissom makes a point to say Anthony's mom had come to visit the baby unannounced, and they both break out into another argument. There was clearly no love lost between the two women, and they were definitely loud about it. The problem is the constant quarreling was getting on Judge Lauren's nerves.
And when the baby was born, was he at the hospital?
He was there.
Yes,
we were all there. Anthony was there.
He cut the cord and everything.
She even came without nobody inviting her.
Came where?
To the hospital. Don't say you didn't.
Wait a minute.
Because they escorted you out. Me and Destiny had her escorted out of the hospital
my grandson
by security.
Being born.
We sure did.
She came
one
out.
At a time. One at a time,
that's
ladies.
my grandbaby being born in her room.
Anthony's mom seems to think that Destiny's mom had her forcefully removed from the hospital premises in order to get her son to sign the birth certificate of the baby. Ms. Sissom points out that a family member of Anthony's had threatened Destiny, and that was why they had to be removed by security. The mothers start yelling again, and Judge Lauren tries to restore order. Judge Lauren's gavel at this point has had to be used severally after each mother's testimony as they kept trying to insult each other.
So you've been saying all this time Anthony is the father of this child. You've been consistent. Anthony's participated in the birth.
Yes, he has.
The day of the birth comes.
Because they put me on.
No, hold on.
Yes, he has.
I'm getting to that part.
Okay.
So, Ms. Riley, you and your daughter come up because you say, since they're saying it's Anthony's baby, this is my grandchild, let me go up there for the birth.
Right. She has me removed out the hospital so she can get my son to sign this.
To thicken and yet clarify the plot of this case, Anthony is invited into the courtroom to testify. Anthony's testimony concerning his reason for wanting a kid and believing the kid is his is quite disturbing, and this obviously sickens Judge Lauren even further, and also causes her to sternly admonish the kids on how immature and irrational their actions have been. Anthony's faith in his paternity claims does nothing to satisfy his mother's distrust of Destiny.
Mothers have been going back at it. It has gotten so negative and so volatile. Now, I'm ready to hear from Anthony. Anthony, we have had a heated court session today concerning Osiris. Look at me when I'm talking to you. Do you believe you are Osiris's biological father?
Yes, I do.
The paternity of the child is announced by Judge Lauren, and it turns out that she wasn't lying. The grandmothers of the baby start sniping at each other again, and this time around, Judge Lauren is not here for it. She completely loses her cool and gives both mothers a much-needed dressing down, reminding them of their failure to protect their children from themselves. Judge Lauren conveys her displeasure as loudly as possible, leaving everyone involved on mute.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Taylor, you are his father.
Take care of him. I bet I can.
This is about the most ignorant stuff I done seen in here in a long time. Sit down.